All right. Well, good morning or good evening, everyone, and welcome to the April 26, 2023 meeting of the San Francisco Democratic County Central Committee. My name is Honey Mahogany. I'm chair of the San Francisco Democratic Party, and I'm calling this meeting to order. Again, welcome back to our regularly scheduled meeting. It is a pretty packed agenda. I think we have some really interesting presentations that we're going to get to hear tonight, which I'm excited about. And I just wanted to take a moment, and I won't take too long, but I wanted to take a moment to thank everyone for being here today, especially to all of our presenters. You know, with all the craziness that's happening across the country, it's nice to see people here in San Francisco who are interested in actually making a difference and making a positive impact. So really excited to see some of these conversations move forward and be discussed here at the San Francisco Democratic Party. So with that, why don't we go ahead and get this party started, and we'll do so by calling the roll. So Madam Recording Secretary Lee, please go ahead and call the roll. And if you are not speaking, please go ahead and put your microphone on mute. I hear some background noise there.
All right. Thank you, Chair Mahogany. I'll go ahead with roll call. Member Avalos. Member Baraka.
Present.
Member Barry.
Present.
Member Campos. I think Member Galata is going to be proxy. I know that Member Galata will be here a little bit later. Member Chen.
Here.
Member Dufty. Member Galata.
Proxy for Galata.
Thank you. Member Ibanez.
Presente.
This party started, and we'll do so by calling the rolls. Sorry.
Oh, all good. Member Kim. Member Lacroix.
Present.
Member Lee here. Member Loftus. Member Lovett.
Here.
Chair Mahogany.
Here.
Member Mandelman. Member Marr. Member Maliga. Member Morales.
Here.
Thank you. Member Raju.
Zaki here as proxy.
Thank you. Member Ronan.
Here by proxy.
Member Thomas. Member Ibanez, I think you're a proxy for Member Thomas.
Sorry, I was about to answer. Thank you.
Yeah, you're all good. Member Tung.
Proxy.
Member Williams. Member Zoe.
Here by proxy.
Member Feinstein.
Here by proxy.
Member Pelosi.
Here by proxy.
Member Mullen. Member Kounalakis. Member Ma. Member Cohen.
Here by proxy.
Member Weiner.
Here by proxy.
Member Haney. Member Ting. And if you just got here, just please note in chat and I'll make sure I get you on roll call. But Chair, we do have quorum.
Awesome. Thank you, Recording Secretary Lee. We're now going to move on to item number 2 of our meeting agenda, which is the approval of the meeting minutes from our last meeting. Are there any amendments that folks would like to make to the agenda?
I just have a couple of minor amendments. To my comments regarding the Kiete O'Neill case. After I guess it would be the third paragraph where it starts, Member Baraka, that sentence ends in worked with, had his back. I would like to add, noting, however, this does not leave officers beyond reproach. And the last sentence of that same paragraph should read, thanking April Green for her advocacy. Others would be served well by modeling her tenacity. And the only other thing that I'd like to put in is that suggestion that folks take a look at Fruitvale Station, the Oscar Grant story. I would really like that to be a part of the record as well.
Okay, thank you, Vice Chair Braca. Recording Secretary Lee, were you able to catch those amendments?
Yes, but we're on the approval of the meeting agenda, not the March 22nd meeting minutes. Is that correct?
Yes.
Oh, sorry. Are we talking about? I'm sorry.
That's okay. You know what? I think I may have said approval of the meeting minutes, so that might have been my mistake, though I did say item number 2. But since we are there, were you able to get those amendments just down?
I'm working with Edie Garcia to make sure that those are reflected in the March 22nd minutes, Member Braca.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, Recording Secretary Lee. Why don't we just, I think I said meeting minutes, even though I called the wrong number, so apologies. If we can just go ahead and approve those meeting minutes, and we'll go back to item number 2, the approval of the meeting agenda. Does anyone else have any amendments? Okay, seeing none, can we have a vote to a motion to approve the meeting minutes as amended?
So moved.
moved. Second.
First by Braca, seconded by Lacroix. All those in favor, I think we can do this by acclamation. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right. The meeting agenda minutes were passed unanimously. We will now back up to item number 2, which is the approval of the meeting agenda. Colleagues, you should have gotten the 72-hour notice in your email boxes. I will note that U.S. Senate candidate Barbara Lee is unable to join us this evening. So we will be continuing that to our next meeting. Are there any other amendments that folks would like to make to the agenda at this time? Okay, seeing none, can we go ahead and approve the agenda as amended, removing U.S. Senate candidate remarks from the agenda?
So move.
Moved by Barry, seconded by
Second.
seconded by Braca. Thank you. I believe we can do this also by acclamation. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Nay. And any abstentions? All right, we have an approved meeting agenda. So hopping right in there and skipping over item number 4, we're heading to item number 5, which is the California Democratic State Central Committee Officer candidate remarks. We have several candidates with us today. We have Carolyn Fowler, who is running for controller of the state party, Gracie Torres, candidate for secretary, and as well as Diana Love. So we will start with Carolyn Fowler. Each candidate has 2 minutes to do introduction, and then members, we can ask 2 questions per candidate. So get your raised hand function ready. All right, without further ado, let's bring forward Ms. Fowler.
I'm not seeing her in the room yet, but I do see the next candidate, Gracie Torres.
All right, let's move on then to Ms. Torres.
Great, bringing her up right now.
And maybe also, just as you bring her up, you can bring up the other candidates just to save time.
Sure. Gracie should be in the panelist now. Gracie, are you there?
I see that her video and mic options are not on yet.
Oh.
Well, since we have Diana Love, why don't we start with Ms. Love?
Greetings. Can you hear Ms. Fowler?
No, we cannot hear Ms. Fowler.
Oh, you're Miss Fowler.
Oh, wait, it just says Diana Love. It just says Diana Love. Thank you, Ms. Fowler. I didn't think that you were Diana Love. You look very different.
Thank you. I was here the whole time. I was like, why can't he see me? Why can't he see me?
Oh,
Anyway,
your name
I'm
said
ready
Diana
for the
Love.
timer to start. Greetings, San Francisco and Chair Mahogany. I was glad to join you again from last month, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time about me as your DNC member, Chair of the Women's Caucus, and co-chair for JEDI, which I will be stepping down from that. I am taking the controller role seriously. I'm going to spend more time talking about that. We propose a long-term approach that puts the party on a path to a financial destination with our small dollar donors, strategic partners, I think that will closely align with our democratic vision for California. This needs to be a value-centered approach. I know we had a report about almost 2 years ago. I want to bring that back as chair of the Finance Committee to review and assess that with the entire party. I want to have the way to do that, thanks God to Zoom. We'll have plenty of time to have input and sessions. I want to educate the entire body on what does the role of the controller do? What are the plans that we have moving forward? I think the Women's Caucus gave a perfect example last month for Women's History Month. We had an event that had external and internal people. As a result of that successful event, over 300 attending. Some of those people are volunteering at the convention. You'll see them. They're now becoming active, and I'm proposing that each caucus have at least one annual meeting or one annual event around their caucus vision and goals to have a fundraiser. I also think that we have not taken advantage of the content that we have, the valuable content, whether it's telling our stories, etc. To take advantage of some dialogue with external parties. We've got to build the party so that we can win in 2025. I also want to have a special rural conference because I think there are a lot of ideas on how we build and fund more for rural. I've always consistently asked for more money for our state parties from the DNC. The other final thing I want to say about the money piece aspect is that we must all contribute. We must all, no matter how small, to build this party. And that's a commitment we all should own. I'll take questions.
Great. Thank you so much for your presentation. Members, do we have any questions for Ms. Fowler? Seeing the proxy for Hanzo, Luis Zamora.
Thank you so much, Ms. Fowler, for all the great work that you've done for the party. You mentioned fundraising from the caucuses, and I was just curious if you might be able to give a little bit more detail on that. And the reason why I'm asking is because there are some kind of stringent bylaws that the California Democratic Party has around what caucuses can fundraise for. And so I was curious if you might be able to give a little bit more light on that.
Happy to do so. You can always fundraise for the party. Let me just keep that simple. That's always legal. And any ideas you have about fundraising for the party, we're open to hear that. And I'm glad you brought that up too. I hope some of you, because standing committees are open, those of you who are very good at that, have ideas. I hope you'll join the Finance Committee. But I want to be clear, you don't have to be on the Finance Committee to have some ideas about how we can grow more resources to expand our year-round organizing. Not only year-round organizing, we have a very limited staff. I'd like to see that we did so well that we can add staff to do more than we are. They're stretched very thin, and quite frankly, I'd like to see them get a raise. So I take that personally as to what we can do. But anytime we're raising money for the party, the caucuses are free to do that. Hope that answered you. Thank you.
Thank you for that question. Do we have another question for Ms. Fowler? All right, I don't see any other questions. Well, thank you again. Do you have any closing remarks?
Yes, just willing to take all of the training I've had, both externally and internally, to help build the party, but I can't do it without each and every single one of you. You're valuable. We need you. I see what you do all the time, every day, and we can win.
All
And
right.
Carolyn, please call me Carolyn.
Okay. Thank you, Carolyn. We appreciate you. Thanks for making the time to come by tonight. Have a good
Thank you.
rest of your evening.
Thank you. I'm on to my next one. Thank you. I apologize.
Good luck.
Thanks.
All right. We will move on now to Ms. Torres, who is running for secretary. Welcome.
Hello, everyone. Hi, thank you so much, Chair. Hello, Democrats. My name is Gracie Torres. I am running for CDP Secretary. I am from the Inland Empire. And in the Inland Empire, I'm elected to my water district. I was elected in 2018 and then re-elected in 2022. I have, in my time in office, focused on the same things that I want to focus on now. One is transparency, workforce development, and lastly, making sure more Democrats are elected locally. When I talk about transparency, as I go up and down the state, there's a lot of things that delegates just don't know. They had a hard time in the ADEMS elections. They don't know what's going on with the officers, or even something as simple as finding the meeting minutes. And so I want to change that. I want to streamline these processes so that delegates feel included and they can, rather than focusing on those things, rather than focusing on those things, they can focus on the ground organizing and making sure Democrats are elected. I am a strong labor supporter. I want the party to work closely with labor so that we're not fighting when it comes to election season with labor having supported one candidate and the party a different candidate. We need to unite in that front. And as I talk about unity, one of the things that's important to me, because I'm in Riverside County and I'm seeing these school boards being attacked by the Republican agenda. My own children, going to school with kids who are going to judge them for what they look like, telling them that they can't learn about their heritage or who they or judging them for who they love, and that they can't learn something as simple as gender affirming pronouns. And so I've been on that fight. In my time in office, I have recruited, trained, and ran over 36 candidates on my own, and made sure that every single seat where a Republican is sitting there is an opponent. I think that is incredibly important. And those are the types of things I want to bring to the Democratic Party. I've done this on my own, and I know that my own frustrations have been that I could use party help. My central committee, our clubs can use the help from the party to make sure that we're flipping seats, that we are just as strong of a force defending our school boards as we see as we see Republicans doing throughout the nation. But here in California, that should not be okay. I have experience as a secretary in my Young Democratic group, as secretary for my assembly district, central committee group, and in the CDP, I served as co-chair for the platforms committee as well as the anti-racist committee. I'm somebody, this race is only about somebody that can deliver. I do have a lot that I'm involved in, but I deliver over and over again, which is why for something like this, I've been asked to run, because I deliver, I give results, I'm on the ground. I know one thing that is about me is that the community guides my decisions, and in this case, that's a delegate. So as a delegate, you're going to have a voice in me, and I'm very proud to say that I will reach out first before I make a decision, and it always be delegate driven. So thank you so much. Please visit votegracie.com to learn more about me, and I hope to earn your support as well as endorsement. Thank you. We'll see you at convention. Please register before May 1st to take advantage of the early bird specials. Thank you, everyone. I'll take questions.
Thank you, Ms. Torres. I see we already have a hand raised. Member Barry.
Thank you, Chair. And thank you, Gracie Torres, for your comments. I don't have a question for you. I just have a comment that is refreshing to hear someone that understands what the struggle is like to be new to the party and have someone that cares about having transparency and assistance, because sometimes we are met with the folks that have been doing this a while, that know it all and are not as helpful. And for that to be something you mostly talked about as being important, I really appreciate you. And I'm sure there'll be new people who are either elected or appointed that will be thankful they have someone who sounds to be pretty kind and intentional. Okay, sweetheart. But thank you.
I want to add, thank you for saying that. In my time in office, the people I noted that I've recruited have all been people that are not ingrained in politics. They've been people I've met on the streets or on the campaign trail or in the community that say, I want to get involved. And I'm like, run for ADAB, run for school board. Hey, there's a commission seat open. I will guide you through it, but we need you at the seat, whether you're the most experienced or not. We need us at the table. And I do want to let you know, next week, all the delegates will receive an email. It's mostly catered to new delegates, but we will be hosting a delegate training. So you know what to expect at convention. It is overwhelming. I remember my first convention. And so we'll have a training and I hope everyone is able to make it. So thank you. Thank you for your comment.
Thank you. Thank you, Member Barry, and thank you, Ms. Torres. Are there any other questions? Okay, seeing none, do you have any closing statements you'd like to make?
The only thing I want to say is that yes, I completely understand what it's like to be new, but also I understand what it's like to fight and be attacked by Republicans. I am a Republican target here in Riverside County. As the only Democrat on my water board, I have been attacked over and over and over again. But even with those attacks, even being the 1 in 5 vote, I get things done. I deliver for my community. I will roll over any opposition, because what I know is that if I do that, the girls following me behind are gonna have it easier. And so again, you're gonna find in me someone that delivers. Please vote for me at the May convention. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Torres. We'll now have Ms. Love. I believe she's with us.
Hi, good evening. Thank you for having me. My name is Diana Love, and I'm the interim secretary for the party. I was elected in July to fill the vacancy and the remaining term, and I'm here today to ask for your support and your endorsement and vote at convention. I want to start by saying that we cannot let Republicans take us backwards. They're voting against our women and our health care, and it could be our voting rights. And we just have to move forward and work together in partnership to bring everybody forward and get candidates elected up and down the 58 counties. So I want to start by telling you some of my accomplishments. A few of my accomplishments is that I advocated for the region, for more regional directors. I've been advocating for quite a while, and finally we have 2 that have been added that will start with a new term. I also advocated in my region where I live, where I'm also the regional director, and I'm stepping down because I want to focus on just fully being the secretary. But I advocated to reduce the region by 2 assembly districts because my region was one of the largest regions that we had. So I was successful in doing that. I also talked about the fact that I wanted to add more advocacy and more diversity to the party. So I started with my own. I have a full fledge of diverse people on as my delegates, including Black, Latino, LGBTQ, Jewish, Native, and Asian, Latino, and more. But I want to just let you know that the top 3 things that I am focusing on is that I have a 25-year career leading, managing, and working with diverse populations. I've been fighting for veterans affairs, senior care, advocating for people with disability, and also increasing more youth. I have a undocumented recipient who is one of my delegates. I have helped him get onto the Young Dems and get on committees, and pushing forward to just listen to what young people talk about. They are the future. What I would like to see is more campuses, to go on the campuses with them, to advocate alongside of them, to start clubs and committees and listen to their ideas and what they want to do, what they want to hear and see from the party. That's what I think is most important. So I have also in my career, I am an advocate for consumer protection. I am a appointee of Governor Newsom to the Contractor State License Board, which has over 300,000 licensed contractors. I started as a member, went on to be secretary, and now I am the vice chair. So I'm very proud of that. I have sat on many local, county, and state boards and commissions for advocating for seniors as well. I am also an ambassador in the city where I live. So I know about election protection and boards for housing, but most of all, I want to do change youth programs for young people. So I'm looking forward to continuing, as I said earlier, to fill the term. But what I want to continue advocating for is improving the ADM process. And for those of you who don't know, on Friday, May 26th at 10 o'clock at convention, there's going to be a Rules Committee ADM hearing for testimony. For those people that were dissatisfied and unhappy, you can go and testify for that. I'm going to be helping with staffing, helping with the staff, doing training for regional directors. We're going to be putting together a new manual and orientation at training that I want to be a part of. And I'm still going to continue to advocate for free healthcare, no fracking, student loan reduction. All of those things are important, but we should all be doing those things. But as secretary, our job is to maintain the records and serve all the notices. And that means continuing to provide accurate minutes. And that's what I have been doing. And you can find the minutes on the party website. They have always been there. And I am working closely every week with the officers. We meet, we talk over the logistics of what's coming next, and then we produce those things and send them out in an email that goes out to everyone. So again, I'm here to earn your support, and if I can answer any questions, please let me know. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Love. Are colleagues, any questions? I see Member Berry has one.
Hi, Diana Love. Thank you
Hi,
so
how are
much
you?
for wanting to take on this full time. My question is, you mentioned that you advocated for veterans, and I often feel the Democratic Party doesn't do enough when it comes to veterans. What specifically have you advocated for?
Well, I'm the chair of the Policy and Legislation Committee for the Veterans Caucus. So I'm pushing for legislation for them and for health care for them, and to make sure that they have some proper clinics in different areas that they don't have. So the legislation, I'm pushing very heavily for that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Member Berry. Does anyone else have any other questions? Oh, Vice Chair Levitt.
I'm just curious about your role on the Contractor State License Board. Would there be any conflict in terms of the legislation that they might be looking at and endorsing, and any connection that could hamper what you would do on the California Democratic Party?
No, there is no conflict. In fact, that was one of the things that I asked about when I was appointed and confirmed by the Senate, to make sure that there was no conflict of interest, and there is no conflict. And I've been doing this for the last year, almost a year now.
Okay, well, those are our two questions. Would you like to make a closing statement?
I just want to say that I feel very strongly in diversity. We have got to include more people of all walks of life into this party. I've talked with people up and down the state, and it's important that we are human and we are humble and we learn people's stories, because people come from different places, and we should embody how they feel and what they think, and continue to strive to bring in more people into the party of all walks of life and of all age groups.
Well,
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Interim Secretary Love. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right, I believe that concludes our presentations from our California Democratic State Central Committee officer candidates. We will now move on to item number 6, which is the general public comment portion. I just wanted to say before we begin public comment that we do have about 40 people in attending. And so public comment can run very long, and it's really important that we get to hear everyone, and I don't want folks to drop off. So if folks can limit their comment to 1 minute, that would be appreciated, and we'll give you a heads up when you've hit that 1 minute mark.
Have a good evening, everyone.
Good evening. Good evening. If you have, if you are able to do it under 1 minute, that would be great. We'll let you know when you're about to hit 1 minute. If you do have prepared remarks that go over that, that's fine. But just out of respect to all the folks that are waiting, we just ask that you keep it brief if you can. So with that, I will hand it over to our Executive Director, Moises Garcia.
Thank you, Chair Mahogany. If you would like to make public comment, please use the raise hand function, which can be found at the bottom of your Zoom screen. If you are listening to this meeting via your phone, please dial *9 to enter the queue. If you encounter any difficulties, please send an email to info@sfdemocrats.org. I will promote folks in the order that I see them. And I thank you in advance for your patience. I will start with promoting Susan Pfeiffer, Jennifer Longley, Brandy Markham, Christine Pelosi, and Carl Russo.
There we go. Can you hear me?
Yes, go
Hi.
ahead.
Good evening, members. And I'm calling this tonight a pride of proxies because we have quite a few joining us, but also a lot of members. I have about 4 things to briefly mention. One is I am a member of what we now call the Forever Organizing Committee at the state party. That's one of the permanent committees. And starting last e-board, they've started a new program where every convention or e-board, there will be likely 2 organizing activities on Saturday afternoon for delegates to participate in, and delegates are highly encouraged to participate in these. Because this is not an election year or cycle right now, the activities are not related to a specific election, but they are flexing our muscle. One of them will be bundling essential items for women that will be donated to a women's shelter in Los Angeles that caters to women that are homeless. And those will be donated as a gift from the new mayor of Los Angeles. The second activity will be texting young voters with a survey asking if they want to, if they feel that we should hold Republicans accountable for things including gun violence. The idea there is to get them activated and lure them in to register to vote and get them to vote. So you'll have a choice of either bundling personal items for women or texting. You may have been called already by a member of the organizing committee or a volunteer, and we will help you fill out a mobilize form, but we really are encouraging you to volunteer at the convention. This will be on Saturday between noon and 2 p.m. And other than maybe 1 or 2 standing committees, it will be the only activity between noon and 2 on Saturday. So each will be done in a different room. So I encourage you to do that. Secondly, I have new information on Covered California. This is very timely. You may remember that during the public health emergency that went on and on and on that was declared by the government, many people were able to get into low cost or no cost Medi-Cal insurance to get them through the pandemic. Now that that is ending this month, Cover California and Medi-Cal are reassessing all of those people, or many of them. They're working with the IRS and other agencies to determine if those people now have jobs and their income does not warrant Medi-Cal. They will be receiving a letter that they have 30 days to choose a Cover California plan. So my new goal is to get word out through the supervisors. So those of you who are proxies tonight, please take this back to your supervisor to let your constituents know that starting in June, many of them are going to have to join Cover California. And I'm here to help. And my pal Judith Bolker in Daly City also is helping in San Francisco as well. We want to make sure that they don't end up with no coverage. So this is really critical, and ask you to get that out. Third, last Saturday, I was at an event with Speaker Pelosi where she was thanking volunteers that helped us win the Wisconsin race. And after that, I went to the San Francisco Film Festival. It was the next to the last day. And one of the films I saw was a documentary called Home is a Hotel. And it was the world premiere of it. And the doc has been in the works for, I think, 6 years. COVID delayed it, etc. It was striking. It was powerful and impactful. And it followed, I believe it was 6 people who were living in an SRO, and they were all living in the same hotel, on their trek to getting Section 8 vouchers and being able to get into Section 8 housing. And all of the people that were in the film were there that day. I was moved to speak because I'm in the outer sunset, and there are 2 Section 8 projects that have just been completely rebuilt. One on Lower Grade Highway between Rivera and Santiago, and the other on 48th in Noriega, right around the corner from me. And I hadn't made that connection until I saw that movie. And it gave me chills to know that these people were finally getting into Section 8 housing. And the people in the outer avenues who have lived in fear, and the NIMBYs who have complained, oh, I don't want to live near those people. We've been living next to them as long as I've been out here, and there's no crime. So I stood up and spoke about that. And so that's my 3 comments. Lastly, I just want to ask Member Lee, is that a real dog in your lap? And I'm done. It looks like a stuffed animal. It's adorable.
Thank you, Susan. Thank you for your comments. Next up is Jennifer Longley.
Hi, I don't know if you guys can hear me. Hello. Hi, everybody. My name's Jen Longley. I'm one of the co-chairs for the San Francisco Women's Political Committee. Before I start, I just want to give Susan a shout out. She actually helped me sign up for Covering California years ago. So thank you, Susan. I'm actually calling in today as a member of the San Francisco Women's Political Committee. As you see, you'll see some of my sisters later on today are wearing denim. Today is Denim Day. Denim Day was to bring awareness to Sexual Assault Month this month in April, but also very specifically to uplift and memorialize a woman who was raped by her driving instructor, did decide to go the legal route and pressed charges. And a judge threw out her case saying that because she was wearing tight denim, she obviously had to be a willing participant in sex. And that sounds ridiculous on its face saying that now, but that is why members of SFWPC are here today. We are urging the San Francisco Democratic Party, after hearing the presentation from our organization later on today, to take the step of directing its Rules Committee to draft rules for this body to consider about an anti-sexual violence policy. We are very grateful to Chair Mahogany and Member Morales, who've been working with us over the past few months and been promoting this survey, and thanking other clubs within the organization. Want to give a shout out to my own club, SF Young Democrats, for really pushing this forward as well. But while my sisters will be talking a little bit more in depth about what survivors have told us, one of the things that we wanted to say to this body is that we recognize that it is incredibly important that there is a neutral third party who will step in these type of cases, and that we are hopeful that the party will choose to incorporate that in any rules that it has moving forward. So again, thank you so much for everybody who has worked with us, and we look forward to hearing from you later today. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Next up is Brandy Markman. You're on mute.
Good evening. My name is Brandy Markman. I'm a D1 parent. I've lived in the Richmond district for 18 years. I'm calling in to oppose the motion to grant a charter to the West Side Family Democratic Club. The club had for their kickoff event, Joel Engardio as their speaker. The homepage of the DCCC's website says Black Lives Matter. As a public school parent, I can tell you that Joel Engardio has repeatedly used and continues to use anti-Blackness to whip up racist reactionary voters on the West Side. As someone who attends school board meetings, I have repeatedly seen Black school children and their parents being disrespected and gaslit when they have requested that our schools not be named after white slaveholders and other racists, that racist artwork be removed from their schools, and that the district stopped using an illegal and elitist and racist admissions process that has the intended effect of screening out children with moderate to severe learning disabilities from Lowell High School, which is in effect a form of school segregation. This is alive and well, sadly, in the west side of San Francisco in the year 2023. Many of you know and have felt the rise in fascism and anti-Black racism in the United States and in San Francisco. I am concerned that this club is a part of this and do not want to see the San Francisco Democratic Party rubber stamp their charter application unless they can prove otherwise. I grew up in deep red Southwest Iowa. I know a Republican when I see one, and I am tired of San Franciscans who have Republican values supporting school board recalls, which were cheered on by Mike Pence and Mitch McConnell, calling themselves Democrats because this is the only way they can have political power. This is disrespectful to our Democratic Party and to our values. Please reject this charter application. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Next is Christine Pelosi.
Good evening, colleagues, and warm Denim Day greetings to my fellow sister and sibling sexual violence survivors. I am before you as not only a survivor, but as member of the executive boards of the Democratic National Committee, California Democratic Party, the National Federation of Democratic Women, and the Anti-Harassment Nonviolence nonprofit. We said enough. 5.5 years ago, 300 women in the Capitol signed a letter saying that there was a pervasive culture of harassment and abuse in California politics. Within a couple of days, we had grown into a national Me Too politics movement. As the only person in the country who signed both that letter and the Me Too Congress letter, I think I'm uniquely qualified to tell you that having helped draft dozens of codes of conduct, it is critically important to have a few essential elements. And my co-founders, Adama Iwu, Samantha Corbin, and Alicia Benavides-Lewis, and I really strongly believe, and this is why we co-wrote the resolution at the California Democratic Party, that we have due process for accusers and for respondents, that we have a confidential process, that we have trauma-informed counseling, and that we have transparent results. This has to happen independently. Too often people want to police their own. We were told over and over and over again by legislators we love, look, let us handle this internal. And we said, no, you can't. Too many young people who want to enter politics find themselves abused by legislators, abused by other activists, and told that's just the hazing that happens in politics. Well, it doesn't have to be that way, and it shouldn't be that way. And I would just say that today, even when we were advocating, we had millions of people joining in on an effort to fight the MAGA Republican budget and centered veterans on that because of work we had done together in securing money for the first time for military sexual trauma. They actually said it out loud in the House and the Senate when they passed it, and to see people want to cut that by 22% was just absurd and awful. And our own Speaker Emerita Nancy Pelosi led the charge against that. The Democrats were united against it today, but it's a fight that goes on. And every time we have these fights, we have candidates for office right now who've been censured for abuse. We have Democrats in our own party who have been accused credibly of harassment, discrimination, bullying, and abuse. And we have to find an independent arbiter of these disputes. And I would lastly point out that tonight, as we are also considering the very important affirmation of our sanctuary ordinance, that we should think about what sanctuary means, because we've been telling the federal government, you can't just accuse somebody of something, you have to have due process. And I think we want to make sure that, as painful as these stories are, and as someone who's been representing victims, including being a survivor myself, but representing victims for the 30 years that I've been a lawyer, I can tell you due process is really important. So I'll close with this ask. Please listen to the feedback. Read it, study it, be humble about it. And if you're a survivor too, try to create the sport that you had, or more likely that you wish you had had. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your comments. Next up is Carl Russo.
Hi there, I'm Carl Russo. I'm a union hospital worker in San Francisco, and I want to thank you all for considering the resolution in support of the Veritas Tenants Association. I am a VTA member, and I want to speak to some of the union busting tactics that Veritas, also known as Green Tree, has resorted to lately. Veritas, you probably know, is the San Francisco's largest landlord. So right after the city passed the Union at Home ordinance last year, the majority of our neighbors in this building signed the petition to form our association. Immediately, Green Tree contacted some of these neighbors, not by email, which is how they normally communicate with us, but by personal phone call from a top manager asking if they actually joined or was it bogus. And it felt like they were trying to peel us off separately. It was quite intimidating, but we did hold together. This is what they do. A few months ago, most of our members posted some signs outside our front doors. They're professionally printed. They're identical. The posters demand that Veritas negotiate with us on rent increases. This is a big citywide contract ask that we're pushing for. Well, they tore these posters down right off of our doors. Also very intimidating. We put some more posters back up and they came around and tore them down a second time. So I contacted the manager who gave the order to take them down. And this is the same guy, by the way, who made the intimidating phone calls. And he said, we were in violation of the Union at Home ordinance. That who is this guy to come around and tear down our own personal property from the home we've lived in for 28 years? We put the posters back up. I'll cut this short in the interest of time. They've stayed up a third time, but I continue to hear from our VTA members across town that they are tearing their signs down, basically scaring them into silence. So please pass the resolution that helps working San Franciscans to organize and to stay in San Francisco. Thanks.
Thank you for your comments. Next is Joshua Ochoa, followed by Sophia Andari, Nadia Rahman, and Mako Stewart. Go ahead, Joshua.
Hi, can you hear me, everyone? Cool. Hi, everyone. My name is Joshua Ochoa. I serve as the elected secretary for the SF Young Dems. I'm here to talk in support of the DCCC creating a policy that pushes back against a lot of sexual predators and people who are violent in political spaces. I unfortunately know a lot of people who do not feel safe in political spaces because of these people who basically are not being able to be held accountable. As Democratic clubs, it is incredibly difficult to have this process internally, much to what Christine Pelosi was saying of how do we regulate ourselves? And oftentimes we find that we do not have the capacity nor the bandwidth to be able to actually implement these policies, and we need DCCC support. I really want to see us have, a San Francisco Democratic Party and Democratic clubs that are safe for, men, women, queer people, color, trans people, everyone, so that we can have a party that really works towards the progressive values that we work to see. So I really hope to support the Women Political Committee and their efforts to have a policy that pushes back against a lot of this harassment that takes place in political spaces. And I hope to help support in any way that I can. But thank you so much.
Thank you for your comments. Next is Sophia Andari.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Sophia Andari. I am the co-founder of Women's March San Francisco. I'm also a commissioner on the Commission on Status of Women of the City and County of San Francisco. I'm calling to urge the DCCC to create an sexual violence policy. Survivors of sexual violence really need to know that they have support and reporting options in order to come forward. We need a transparent anti-sexual violence policy that really focuses on accountability. Our political spaces should feel and be safe. The DCCC, I'm hoping, really moves forward with such a policy so that all the Democratic clubs and activities are safe spaces for everyone participating. Thank you so much for allowing me this time.
Thank you for your comments. Next is Nadia Rahman.
Hi, everyone. Thank you. Good evening, DCCC members. My name is Nadia Rahman, and I'm calling in to speak in support of agenda item number 8, the San Francisco Women's Political Committee Sexual Assault Survey results, which should ultimately culminate in an anti-sexual violence policy here at the DCCC. I was co-president of SFWPC for 2 years in 2021 and 2022. In that time, the organization demanded action from the SF political community on sexual assault and sexual harassment. As a result of this work, survivors of assault and harassment began reaching out to our organization with their stories. It was clear to us at SFWPC that there was a pervasive problem within the political community here in San Francisco, and that while people with power were willing to say the right things to our organization on social media, and when they were speaking to the press about condemning sexual violence as a concept, they were not willing to hold people accountable for actual behavior when it occurred within their own circles of trust amongst colleagues, current and former staff, friends, allies, etc. This is how the status quo of sexual harassment and sexual violence is allowed to continue, because people choose to look the other way when someone they like or love is the one who is problematic. This is not about any one person, any one case, or any specific team within SF politics. This is a pervasive issue that is the result of a lack of accountability and because of misogyny. Given that San Francisco is effectively a one-party political town, the SFDCCC taking action similar to that of the LA DCCC and adopting anti-harassment and anti-sexual violence policies will go a long way in drawing a line in the sand against sexual violence and helping to change the culture within San Francisco politics. Also, saying figuring it out is too hard is not an option for you all. We need you to take action on this, real action on this. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Next up is Mako Stewart.
Hi, everyone. I know we have limited time, so I'll try to be quick, but thank you. It's an honor to be here. I'm here as a board member of the West Side Family Democratic Club. We've applied for a club charter, and that item's coming up later in the agenda. So thank you for hearing our charter application this evening. I just want to say we're looking forward to helping people on the West Side stay engaged in democratic politics. Our focus is going to be on voter registration and engagement. I've seen events these days seem to be focused across town. I think it'd be good to bring city leaders to the West Side to speak to voters. That's what I was going to say. I also just want to comment. I noticed that a person named Brandy Markman spoke out earlier against the club, apparently because Supervisor Ingardio attended our kickoff event. I just want to be clear that we don't know Ms. Markman. She hasn't asked any questions of us, so I'm not sure where that's coming from. At that event, staffers for Supervisor Melgar attended as well, and we were delayed to have them. And we plan to bring as many city leaders as we can to participate in events on the West Side, including all of our West Side supervisors. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Next up is Vanessa Picton, followed by Jordan Davis, Praga Gupta. Go ahead, Vanessa.
Okay, I was muted, sorry. There we go. So I am also a member of the Veritas Tenants Association, and thank you for letting us bring the resolution in support of our union's efforts to stop evictions and predatory rent increases by San Francisco's largest private landlord. Must join together as we have started a campaign that has actually never been done before to negotiate fair contract regarding rent increases and pass-throughs across all of our buildings. Veritas strategically targets long-term tenants, a lot of whom are already rent burdened with banked rent increases and pass-throughs. These households will continue to struggle financially. The VTA's campaign is an important part of keeping San Francisco affordable and to keep the working class and communities of color in San Francisco. Thank you once again for your support and why this matters for San Franciscans as a whole.
Thank you for your comments. Next is Jordan Davis.
Thank you. Just hold on 1 second. Let me pull this up. My name is Jordan. My pronouns are she, her, they, them, and I think the DCCC needs to start meeting in person again. And I support items 10 through 14, especially transgender Bill of Rights and Veritas tenants. But I'm mainly here to say, fuck yo, West Side Family Democratic Club. Not only is the word family a common dog whistle on the right, but this is basically going to be a dark money hug box for Dan White wannabe Joel Engardio, who, by the way, makes me ashamed to be both Italian and LGBTQ. Fuck these reactionaries who want to turn the West Side and the city as a whole into a bland-ass gated community where Black, brown, transgender, poor people, and disabled people are brutally policed and marginalized students don't have rights. Is this what you want in the Democratic Party? I yield my time. Fuck you.
Thank you for your comments. Next is Lena Mabam. Apologies.
Thanks, honey. It's hi everybody. My name is Lena Maibaum. I am also a member of the Veritas Tenants Association. So thank you so much for bringing this resolution, item number 11. It is in support of our union's effort to stop evictions and the predatory rent increases by San Francisco largest landlord Veritas. I've lived in my rent control building since 1996. It was purchased in 2016 by Veritas. And my entire life and my neighbors have been turned upside down. It is that we have is this reason why we have this union so that we can live in peace and live in affordable housing. We know that we also must stick together. So we have begun an unprecedented campaign to negotiate in a fair contract on the rent increases and pass-through across all of our buildings. We won't leave anyone behind, which I've always said from the beginning. We have been fighting as a union together for many, many years, and in support means a lot to us as we continue to grow and struggle together, not only in San Francisco, but also in LA, Oakland, and Alameda, that Veritas does own property there too. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Next up is, I'm sorry, Praga Gupta. Apologies for skipping you.
No worries. Good evening. It's wonderful to see everyone. Thank you for this time. I will be brief. My name is Praga Gupta, and I'm proud to serve as a board member of the West Side Democratic Club. I appreciate your consideration in approving us. I'm a Sunset resident. I've worked with and in the Democratic Party since '96, working with Senator Durbin on the No One Night initiative in '99, if anyone can remember that. Work in affordable housing. I just want my daughter to be able to grow up on the West Side, and hopefully we can increase the participation of residents on the West Side in the Democratic in democracy, as well as in the Democratic Party. So thank you for your consideration. We look forward to answering any questions.
Thank you for your comments. Next up is Martin Rawlings Fine.
Hello, and thank you to the DCCC members for bringing items 10 to 14. I'm Martin Rawlings Fine. I'm the Wallaberg co-president, Alice B. Toklas parliamentarian. I would like to personally thank San Francisco Women's Political Committee for bringing the results to this body and advocating for sexual assault survivors. The survey is essential to our San Francisco community and survivors, especially in politics. And I also want to thank Chair Mahogany and voice my support for the Transgender Bill of Rights and the resolution in favor of it. As a parent of a trans child and a trans man myself, They are trying times for our community, especially our youth, and I'll yield the rest of my time. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Next is Angela Chang.
Hi there, good evening, DCCC members. My name is Angela Chan. I helped to write the sanctuary ordinance and I'm a longtime civil rights attorney. I'm currently the Chief of Policy at the San Francisco Public Defender's Office. Thank you to Carolina Morales and John Avalos for co-sponsoring this important resolution to affirm that immigrants are a vital and inseparable part of our city. I believe this is agenda item number 10, affirming our sanctuary values. Along with Free SF, a large and diverse coalition in San Francisco, I encourage passage of this resolution. I strongly oppose any attempt to weaken our sanctuary ordinance. Any collusion between police, sheriffs, the DA, and ICE further fear in immigrant communities that they can't come forward to access vital city services, including health services and education. And I want to emphasize that other cities are watching us to see if we're going to go back on a promise we made to our immigrant communities when we first became a sanctuary city, and really the first city in the country to adopt a sanctuary ordinance in 1989. Whatever San Francisco does, other cities will follow, and noting that just yesterday, the San Mateo Board of Supervisors passed a strong sanctuary policy after years of organizing by the faith, labor, and immigrant rights community. The immigrant rights community in San Francisco has been profoundly disappointed by Supervisor Dorsey's proposed ordinance that attacks the sanctuary. We condemn this bold-faced attempt to scapegoat immigrants. Rather than fanning the flames of xenophobia and racism, let's focus on funding and supporting evidence-based solutions for addressing our overdose crisis, like creating an affordable continuum of care for people suffering from substance use disorder. Let's provide intervention and support for young people who have been trafficked so they can safely leave conditions of exploitation. I ask DCCC members respectfully to stand with the immigrant community who are our neighbors, friends, and family. We reject any and all attempts to target immigrants and weaken immigrant rights for political gain. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your comments. Last is Henny Kelly. Henny, you're on mute.
I'm on mute now. Can I give my report now? Or is this just public comment?
Currently, we're on public comment, but I will defer to the chair.
I can wait.
Well, it sounds actually like you're breaking up, Henny. So why don't we finish up public comment and we'll come back to you.
Okay.
Great. Chair, at this time, there are no other hands raised.
Okay, well, that concludes public comment for the meeting. Thank you for all the members of the public that showed up to provide their comment. We'll now move on to item number 7, which is a if folks wouldn't mind, perhaps since Henny Kelly is here, we can just get her to give her report and then move on to item number 7. I think her report should be relatively brief. So Henny, why don't you go ahead and give your report now?
Sure. There is going to be a CDP convention orientation for all San Francisco delegates, either on May 15th or May 20th, followed by a party. The SFDCCC will send out information soon.
Henny, your connection's really unstable and unfortunately, you've just cut out completely now.
I'm sorry. I don't know what we can do.
Well, I can hear you now. So why don't you go ahead, and we heard that the SFDCCC will be emailing it out.
Okay. The important thing that you need to know, and this is for SFDCCC delegates, if you are not going to the convention,
You know what, Henny, since your connection is, you're completely cutting out and we can't make out what you're saying. If you can,
absolutely, no, yeah, I think we
so
should.
Sorry. Yeah, if you can just email your update to Moises and we'll provide it when we do the officer reports.
I will do that very quickly. Thank you.
So sorry. Thank you so much. We'll now move on to item number 7, which is a presentation on My Own Lock and Key by Mr. Alex Turk. Thank you so much for being here with us today. And I just briefly, as an introduction, I had the opportunity to hear Alex talk about this with the San Francisco Young Democrats and invited him to speak about his project with the DCCC. So thank you for being here.
Thank you, Director Mahogany, and all the members, and Moises, thank you so much for allowing me this opportunity. I really appreciate it. I've been in San Francisco for 29 years. The first 13 years working in government and politics. I worked for a state assemblyman on the peninsula. I was then the department head for Mayor Willie Brown, and then helped run Gavin's first campaign for mayor in 2003. Not surprisingly, homelessness was the #1 issue of the day 20 years ago. In 2004, I became deputy chief of staff, and in the first week, he asked me to be his point person on homelessness, which puzzled me as a political and campaign operative, knowing that we had a $2 billion budget in public health and a $1 billion budget at HSA. But at the time, he said he wanted someone that he trusted and someone who would engage the public to play a role in solutions. And out of that came Project Homeless Connect, which is some of the proudest work that I've ever done. It's now been replicated in 200 cities across the country, including 3 internationally. It, I believe, was the first time then, or I would argue since, that there was a genuine portal to civic engagement on the issue of homelessness. And there was a real power as the community came together to really roll up their sleeves and get involved in, you know, the most relevant issue over the past 50 years. We've been dealing with homelessness since the deinstitutionalization of mental health hospitals under Governor Reagan in the 70s. And while it gave me great pride to build that model, it was also really challenging at the end of every day or every event. Things went back to the way they were the following day. In 2007, I decided to stop being the guy behind the guy, and I started my own firm, Ground Floor Public Affairs. We have represented some of the most reputable organizations doing this work on the ground in the issue of social service delivery to the homeless population. That includes Episcopal Community Services, Glide, Larkin Street Youth, Tipping Point, St. Vincent de Paul. That's not by happenstance. That's because I've become incredibly passionate around solutions to homelessness, as we are the richest country in the world with $400 million or 400 million population, with, you know, the largest budgets on the planet. Yet we have 550,000 people sleeping on our streets every night. So, you know, I think Homeless Connect made me realize that maybe my skills were meant for something bigger than electing, you know, John Smith dog catcher. And, you know, a couple of years ago, I don't know if it was partly turning 50 or my son going to college and being an empty nester and having a lot of energy and ambition, I decided to do some research and to kind of roll up my own sleeves, meaning, you know, what am I doing at the end of the day to ameliorate homelessness in San Francisco? And both the city, through a Place for All legislation, and the regional organization led by Tamika Moss, All Home, both did reports that said that San Francisco needs 2,000 temporary shelter units throughout the city. So I did a bunch of research, and obviously San Francisco has a $14 billion budget. That is more than some states combined. The city and county of San Francisco owns 1,701 parcels. The religious community owns 801 parcels. And the last time I checked, we're in the business of saving souls. We have innovative, affordable, aesthetically pleasing modular technology, or AKA tiny homes, that are a fraction of the cost and time to build. And we have a bevy of supportive services. What we have lacked is will. And while I have nothing but respect for the elected members of the Board of Supervisors and the mayor, and for the reputable nonprofits that are working on this issue on the ground, very well-intentioned people that are trying to do right. I've come to the realization that government and the nonprofit community cannot solve homelessness, period. And that it takes the public coming together to demand solutions. So I decided to start my own foundation. Let me be clear, I am doing this on my own time and my own dime. This has nothing to do with Ground Floor. There are no clients. And I am trying to do 500 community conversations like this. All of you are lucky number 17. So it's starting to pick up some steam. We actually just hired Vanessa Pimentel to be our field director. I'm sure many of you are familiar with Vanessa. So Vanessa is coming on board to essentially help build that number and that momentum. But essentially what I'm trying to do is to engage the public to take ownership of this issue. And if both the city's report and All Homes says we need 2,000 of these, and again, let me be clear, I am not saying this is a silver bullet. We need more of everything. We need more congregate. We need more navigation centers. We need to rehabilitate our SROs. We need more permanent supportive housing, but we definitely need an expansion of temporary modular supportive housing with geographic equity throughout the city. So essentially what I'm trying to do is to engage the public and organize 10,000 people to be supporters from across the city, to host 500 of these community conversations, and to identify 50 sites, again, with geographic equity, to house 2,000 people. While this is a 501c3, there is also a C4 advocacy arm. And if you go to the website, myownlockandkey.org, you'll see what I believe is a very impressive coalition of people who support this concept. And the idea is once we're able to identify these sites and build a movement, that these folks in the coalition will help build an action plan, an implementation plan, and a budget, and essentially force the powers that be at City Hall to fund and implement this idea. I believe San Franciscans are starving to be for something. I have been in San Francisco, working in politics and government for almost 30 years, and I'm just tired of the finger pointing and the us against them. It's old, it's lazy. And this is the most relevant issue of our day, like it was back in 2003, like it has been for the past 50 years. And I believe the people of San Francisco need to come together and to rise up and to demand innovative solutions. So essentially, and I'll end with this because I'd certainly love to answer any questions with any time you'll afford me, is if this resonates with you, there are 3 things that you can do. One is go to the website and join as a supporter, an official endorser of the project. 2 would be to host another one of these or find another person to do that, to work with Vanessa to get that on the calendar. And then 3rd is to send potential sites. The city and county own sites, the religious community owns sites, the state of California owns sites, the federal government, real estate developers. It is a myth that San Francisco does not have land. It's just that we don't have the will to get this done. So again, I'm very proud to be here. I appreciate all the work that the committee does to promote democratic values throughout San Francisco. So thank you for the opportunity and happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Thank you, Mr. Turk. Colleagues, do we have any questions? I see Member Barry was ready with their hand raised. Member Barry.
Thank you, Chair. Where are you? There you go. Alec Tork, I don't know if I've met you before. Nice to meet you, and thank you for your passion on the subject. I was born here in San Francisco in 1969, and in the 70s, I only recall one Black person being homeless. I remember exactly what she looked like because she stood out so much with her 4 black bags, carrying them all over the city of San Francisco. Fast forward to 2023, there's a disproportionate amount of Black people that are homeless compared to the percentage of population we are in San Francisco. And my question to you is, have you read the reparations report, and do you think reparations is the answer to solve a lot of what you've mentioned?
Wow, that's a really good question. I unfortunately have not read the report. So, I'd prefer to comment once I was educated, but that's actually something I haven't thought of, to be quite honest, Gloria. And it's nice to meet you as well. What I am really trying to do is to activate the public to welcome their unhoused neighbors into their community. So I don't know if this is just a money issue. Again, the city and county has $14 billion. If this was a money issue, I believe we would have solved it. I think we need to activate people to realize if there is a underutilized church parking lot 4 blocks from somebody's house, that the city is willing to house 40 to 50 people with wraparound services and security and love and compassion, that people will say, yes, I would welcome these individuals in my community. And that's what I'm focused on. But rest assured, you've given me something to think about. And I'm happy to check in with you offline and have a private conversation by all means. But thank you for bringing that to my attention. I think that's a really interesting idea.
Thank you, Member Barry. Member Williams.
Yes, thank you, Chair Mahogany, and thank you, Alex, for your presentation. My other hat, in addition to serving on the DCCC, is serving as the chair of the Our City, Our Home Oversight Committee, which is the Prop C committee, charged with overseeing the correct usage of the funds that come in from that tax. I know that we've met and discussed just the issues in our city, and I really appreciate your presentation. I have a question just about right now we have the Oversight Committee, we have the HSH Commission as well. And one of our key things on the Oversight Committee is really engaging folks with lived experience, as well as those who are on the front lines. I know you mentioned Episcopal. Can you talk about some ways in which you're engaging folks with lived experience of homelessness, as well as engaging other leaders in this space, given that, the HSH Commission has just gone online as well? So thank you.
Yeah, it's nice to see you, Chanel, first of all, and thank you. Look, this is part of the effort. Is I again want to have 500 of these conversations. So that includes organizations that are doing work on the ground representing people with lived experience. That means homeowner associations. It means democratic clubs. It means private corporations who employ people here in San Francisco. This is something I'm taking on the road, Chanel, and like anyone who's willing to put 20 people together, I don't care who they represent, where they come from, what part of the city, I'm willing to engage in this dialogue. So if you have suggestions for me, if you can help direct me to organizations that you think would be interested in such a conversation, again, 20 people plus that are willing to get into a room to have a dialogue. You just tell me where to be and when, and I'm there. So again, would love to talk to you offline, Chanel, and see if you can direct me in any way possible. I would welcome that.
Yeah, thank you so much for your work. And I know is this a really multi-layered, really multifaceted issue. I've been serving on that board now for a few years and grew up in the city and just recognize the complexity of what we're dealing with and appreciate your commitment. So thank you.
Thank you, Chanel. Appreciate that.
All right. Well, I don't see any other hands. So at this time, I just want to say again, thank you, Mr. Turk, for coming and presenting to our body. And I'm sure that you were able to inspire some people, or at least get people to think a little bit more deeply about this issue. So if folks want to, get involved, find out more information, where can they go?
My own, I think Moises put it in the chat, myownlockandkey.org. I'm actually also going to put my cell in the chat right there. So if anyone wants to text me, call me, have a conversation, I would welcome that. But again, honey, it means a lot to me that you would give me this opportunity. And it was nice seeing you at the Young Democrats, and any other ideas and suggestions you have, to get to 500 is going to be a Herculean effort. But when you're really passionate about something, it's not work, and if I can just say one thing in closing, that I've now done 17 of these, and there's always someone in the crowd who's cynical, or who's pointing a finger, or who's trying to tear it down. And I think hopefully one of the powerful things about this effort is that I'm not a politician. I'm not asking for anybody's vote. And if someone's against it, we can agree to disagree, but I'm trying to find people of like mind who are willing to stand up and organize and say, enough is enough, and we need to be innovative, and we need to come together. So again, I hope this resonated with the folks on the committee, and I really appreciate the time. So thank you.
Yep. Thank you. And just to underline that was a call, if anyone has a group, a neighborhood group that they're a part of, or even other local Democratic clubs or political organizations who want to have Mr. Turk come and present on my own lock and key, please feel free to reach out to him there. All right.
And please call me out. Please call me out.
All right. Everyone wants to be in.
Thanks, everybody. I appreciate it.
Thank you. All right, we will now move on to item number 8, I believe. Apologies. Which is a presentation from the San Francisco Women's Political Committee on their sexual assault survey. Just before introducing our panelists, I just wanted to say, thank you to the committee and also thank you to SFWPC for being willing to engage in this conversation. I know it can be a very hard one because of the emotions, the trauma that we all bring to this work, and it is a very delicate subject matter. So that doesn't mean we should steer away from it. I think it's really important that we hold space for these conversations and so that we can move forward in a really thoughtful way. So just really appreciate the ability to have this conversation here, and to all of our presenters. And even though she is not here, she's unable to be here today, really want to thank our treasurer, Carolina Morales, who really helped lead some of the efforts on the DCCC side as we helped spread the word about the survey. So thank you again. And without further ado, welcome Denise and Alondra and Jennifer and Mona.
Thank you, Chair Mahogany. I'm gonna start sharing my screen and maybe we can spotlight the presentation. Cool. Okay. Well, hi, everyone. Good evening. I'm Alondra Esquivel Garcia. I'm currently the co-vice president and parliamentarian for the San Francisco Women's Political Committee. Do my peers want to introduce themselves? Maybe Denise, Jen, and then Mona.
Sure. Thanks, everyone, for having us this evening. I'm Denise Heitzen-Roeder. I'm one of SFWPC's co-presidents this year.
Hi, I'm Jennifer. Talked to you guys earlier. I'm also a co-president for SFWPC.
Hi, I'm Mona Barber. I am a co-chair of the policy committee in SFWPC.
Great. Well, let's get on with this. So this presentation is going to be the basis of crafting anti-sexual violence policy for the DCCC. To preface, back in 2021, we were all hearing about the Me Too movement, individual stories, and we actually had some individuals reach out to San Francisco Women's Political Committee about their own experiences with violence within the Democratic Party and government and other avenues. And so that's when we came up with a call to action, followed by a brief presentation at the DCCC with various different conversations into our call to action. In 2022, we decided to do more research on what is sexual violence, restorative justice, transformative justice, having conversations with groups that are survivor-led and focused, and just hearing general feedback from other charter democratic organizations. And then throughout this presentation, you'll hear some key terms such as sexual violence, restorative justice, and transformative justice. I'm not going to go over the definitions due to time, but I believe y'all were provided with the presentation ahead of time. So please, if you have any questions, look back on the slides. So after 2022, when we did research, got feedback, we wanted to hear more directly from survivors themselves. So this year we launched a survivor survey that was self-reporting. We got over 80 submissions. With those 80 submissions, we had board members come in and look at the results. And to preface, all of the submissions were anonymous, so we don't know individuals' names and all that. But we did ask some demographics. So within the 80 total responses, 50 respondents were self-identified as survivors and 50% identified as allies. And then there's more of a race demographic. So wide range of individuals that participated in the survey. So with all like the survey responses, which was 7 questions, we came up with 4 categories, which was accountability, process, culture, and respect for survivors. So each key category had a few recommendations or just general feedback on what they would want to see in the Democratic Party and just overall a response to believing survivors and respecting survivors. The first one was survivor support. They wanted resources, knowing where to go, a safe space, especially, sorry, I don't want to butcher this. A safe space. So basically a space that's safe for everyone. Especially we know that trans folks are under attack and disproportionately impacted by sexual violence. So, you know, with LGBTQ individuals, as well, who are at high levels of sexual violence, just ensuring that there's a safe space for everyone. Accountability. Basically, individuals wanted an apology, but also recognition for what happened. Next one was response and harm reduction. So they wanted a process and mediation to be led by trained professionals. Basically, one of the recommendations was having like a third-party individual help with like an investigation or just the mediation between the survivor and individual that caused harm. And lastly, it was shifting culture. So awareness and implementation of the code of conduct was something that many individuals did not know that the DCCC even has a code of conduct. So ensuring that awareness of the code of conduct is necessary, but also the implementation by standardship. So individuals knowing to help each other, but also just in general, shifting the culture and calling out violence and acknowledging that violence is here and present. Another thing that we clearly saw throughout the responses was restorative justice and transformative justice. So this is a slide with just more further information, but as a result, these 2 methods are a way to prevent harm and is one of the best practices to go when thinking about bylaws amendments or a policy that addresses violence in politics. So what are next steps? So SFDCCC will continue to engage in conversations and best practices through the end of May. We hope that the DCCC will come up with an outline and process for a formal creation and adoption of a policy or a bylaws amendment through the Rules Committee or Gender and Equity Committee. We as SFDCCC will make policy recommendations incorporating the survey responses and the best practice recommendations from experts. Just to preface, SFDCCC is not an expert on all survivor like resources. Like we are, individuals here just trying to address an issue that's so prominent in our community. And then lastly, the DCCC will introduce a policy for vote towards the end of the summer in accordance to the bylaws and policies. And due to time, we won't go over the appendix in resources, but there's a lot of resources regarding what is restorative justice, transformative justice, and just more clear analysis. And with that, do individuals have questions? Denise, Jennifer, and Mona are here to answer. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen.
Thank you so much, Alondra, for that presentation. Before we go to questions, I know that we do have a statement, I believe, from Member Morales that's going to be read by Gabby Burgos, her proxy.
Yes, hi y'all. Thank you so much for the introduction, Chair Mahogany. From Member Morales, and so I'll just do that. Good evening, member.
Pardon me, Gabby, your connection is a little bit unstable, so maybe if you turn off your camera, it might actually improve your connection.
Can y'all hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, so good evening, members of the public and DCCC members. I've had the privilege to serve as the chair of our party's Gender Equity Committee for over a year and to work with leaders from SFWPC to examine our role as Democratic Party leaders in addressing sexual assault and harassment. I want to thank Alondra, Esquivel, Sarah, Haji, Nadia, Roman, Bianca, Roisin, Jennifer Longley, Denise, Heitzen, Roder, and other members from the SFWPC leadership for your hard work on this survey, outreaching to our community organizations and Democratic clubs, and for this presentation today. Although sexual harassment and rape are painful and complicated issues to discuss, it's critical that we do our part as the Democratic Party to address this extremely common problem in our society. Not only to help us remind us of the breadth and depth of this issue here. So here are some of the statistics from the Me Too movement. 81% of women and 43% of men report experiencing some form of sexual assault and or harassment in their lifetime. 1 in every 5 survivors of confirmed sexual abuse cases in ICE detention centers identify as transgender, even though trans people make up only 1 in 500 people in these institutions. Almost 2.9 million US women have experienced rape-related pregnancy during their lifetime. These members don't only illustrate the horrifying reality of sexual violence in our country, but also the interconnectedness of this issue with other social political conditions that our own DCCC has been fighting to improve, such as immigrant, transgender, and reproductive rights. It must be acknowledged that false sexual violence accusations have been used against men of color in our country. This is wrong and unacceptable. At the same time, the high incidence of sexual assault in our communities, including within our own democratic spaces in San Francisco, demands a response from our leadership. Therefore, because we have the power to make a difference in our political circles and prevent more incidents, stopping inappropriate behavior and supporting survivors to heal after harm, is critical that we act urgently and decisively. I ask you all fellow members to support and join our efforts to create a safety policy and address sexual assault in our democratic spaces. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Gabby. We will now go on to questions from our membership. Again, we have a member Barry first in asking questions.
Thank you, Chair. And may I ask Gabby to repeat what they mentioned about the Black and brown men?
Absolutely. Member Morales mentioned that it is important to address that there have been accusations that used against men of color in our country. So I think that's in reference of, yeah.
Okay, I appreciate that. So my questions to the presentation, I like to start off by mentioning that I am a survivor, multiple survivor incidents as a civilian, and also as Ms. Pelosi mentioned about military sexual trauma, which I'm also a survivor of and still receiving treatment to this day. I'd also like to add that I am concerned about how many Black and brown men are falsely accused. You can put in Google right now, DNA rape, and all the Black and brown men faces will come up after serving 20, 30, 40 years in prison. And another thing that Ms. Pelosi mentioned is that due process, and she mentioned due process more than one time. And I don't know if a lot of folks know what due process means. I myself have held several investigations in law enforcement capacity. And due process is not a simple term. It is a process that needs to be followed. And I'm not sure if our policy on sexual assault and behavior in the Democratic Party articulates that well enough. Also, I would like to ask that before we adopt such a policy, that there be more explanation on what an investigation entails. I never thought I'd be mentioning Ms. Pelosi's name so much, but I really like how she said that it needs to be independent, because when people investigate themselves, such as the police, there tends to be no findings, or when people investigate another person whom they're not fond of, the findings can be biased. So I really think that needs to be expounded on in our policy. I also would like to see added into the policy some type of harm repair done to those whom findings were unfounded, because in these political circles, rumors go around fast. Shoot, there's one investigation out there, I don't even know what the end result was, but that lady's name was mentioned, and I think the harm, people have no clue of what it's like to be, well, a lot of people probably do know what it's like to be falsely accused of something. I know what that feels like. And then as far as limiting participation in political life, that's mentioned in our policy that we're looking at, that we were sent. I want to know at what point that's done. The minute someone says that person harmed me, does that limit in participation in political life happen immediately, or will it not happen until after the findings of the investigation, which I hope again is independent? Also, I am concerned about within politics, people being falsely accused due to some folks' unsuccessful relationship with that person, or jealousy of that person being in a different relationship. I've talked to some folks about some people they've dated, and once the relationships went south in politics, they've came out against that person, and it makes me nervous. And it also is human. Us as politicians are not inhuman. We have flaws. And then on the final note on that, I would like to know, I would also like to add that when sometimes someone doesn't want someone to get a political office, that information suddenly comes out, which should be valued anytime anyone says something has happened to them. But again, depending on if you're with it's the lady that won the case against Donald Trump. We were on her side, Stormy, that's her name, Stormy. We're on her side because, we don't want Trump, but if it's against someone on our side, do we kind of be silent, And then last, I would like to know what more in this policy of what restorative justice looks like, not that it's just said. That term is always said, but the process is never written out. And other than that, those are some questions and comments. Thank you for your time.
I'll kind of start, and any of my colleagues can jump on in. So one, Ms. Berry, thank you for your very thoughtful comments, and for sharing your experiences, particularly as a survivor. And a lot of what you bring up, I think, has been reflected in, and the concerns you've raised are reflected in a lot of the survey results that we received, and are things that, as we were researching, our policy committee, some teams of us, myself included, were researching in 2020 a lot of different issues around sexual violence, restorative justice, and transformative justice. We looked at, projects like San Francisco's own sexual assault task force for schools, which touched on some of your concerns about false accusations, especially towards men of color, and the need to have very transparent and open reporting systems. Looked at models with some of our universities. There's a big Title IX difference, but schools like UCSF and SF State that have confidential reporting systems and programs, that's not something that's mandated in California, but is kind of a best practice when you talk to any of our survivor support organizations, that's a key and vital piece of the puzzle. And so I think you're really hitting on a lot of these complicated pieces of the puzzle that are going to be very important for the actual policy rollout. What we're really hoping to be able to do is to take this feedback and provide guidance based on some of the work that we've done with a very, survivor focused and led and accountable sort of mindset. Specifically with restorative justice, a lot of the research and recommendations that we would have, as well as with survivor support, to your point, politics are politics and people are people, and making sure that there are third-party independent individuals as part of these processes who are experts. As our team has said, we're concerned folks, people like me are happy to do a whole bunch of research and read codes of conduct from organizations all over the place. But bringing in those third-party independent people who will not have those political biases is going to be an important part of any policy, and just making sure it's very clear and transparent. As our survey respondents noted, most people don't even know that there is a code of conduct. I doubt they've read it. I have, because as part of my research. But even looking at the San Francisco DCCC's code of conduct, when we compare it and its sexual harassment parameters and sexual violence parameters, for example, to the Los Angeles County's Democratic Party's policy, there's a lot more clarity and a lot more structure in there. And for example, very specific measures like not being required to report sexual violence to a committee or to individuals that may be either part of the problem or, sort of chummy or friendly with, because of those types of concerns about folks who may be bringing their own biases into these conversations. And just to quickly touch on restorative justice, that is usually a best practice from, all the research we've done that is survivor initiated. Often restorative and transformative justice, San Franciscans. Restorative and transformative justice are meant to be alternatives to the criminal justice system. I don't imagine that anyone would suggest if someone has, experienced sexual violence that they feel that they want to go to law enforcement, that they should not. But there are a lot of individuals who do not feel safe in that space. And there are also degrees of sexual violence that may not, part of the notion of restorative justice, if there's a harm done, but there is a person who is an offender who feels remorse and wants to make amends, that's what a lot of the restorative and transformative justice pillars are built on, creating spaces and opportunities for individuals to come back into the community after having accepted responsibility and demonstrated learning and understanding of the harm. And so those are really important harm reduction methodologies and practices that are meant to address issues that, for whatever reason or another, should not, or folks do not want to pursue within a criminal framework. And so however the DCCC, I believe, will approach the policy would be completely outside of any sort of a criminal framework, but having some independent folks involved would be, I think, a really important piece in terms of making sure that there's experts involved and that it is seen as independent, neutral, and, really kind of working to ensure the most, honest potential outcome and path forward. This way, everyone can feel competent in it, and there's not one standard for one person or group and a different standard for another. Does that address most of your questions? Is there anything that anyone else may want to chime in on or kind of help? I mean, I could spend hours talking about this. It's complicated. I think we all could, but I want to make sure I don't glaze over anything that feels very important to you. And my other colleagues can jump in too if they have something that they'd like to add.
I just wish that the restorative justice was more specific. And I also would like to point out that the survey, I'm disappointed that the majority of folks that filled it out were white, and that it was very disproportionate when it came to Asian and especially Hispanic being 1/3 of the amount of, well, 300% more white people were given the survey than Hispanic, and that's in San Francisco with the Asian population as well. It just doesn't seem equitable.
We made sure to reach out to a lot of community partners with the survey, and folks like Alondra, for example, specifically provided Spanish language translation. I hear you, you're completely right. It's very difficult to overcome certain barriers and make sure we can actually get a survey like this into the hands of every, organization, community group, faith-based group that we would like to. But we were, trying to make sure we were putting in the legwork to ensure that happened. And honestly, there are still a lot of folks who may not feel comfortable reporting in, scenarios like this, particularly individuals who might be part of the LGBT plus community, communities of color, any number of individuals who may be in different spaces, that are underserved and feel like they, have concerns about approaching any organization that may seem official or government adjacent, and providing this type of sensitive information. It is something that is, I wish we had, some very, 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 very diligent way to kind of overcome that barrier. But it's one reason why we do want to make sure we're continuing to do outreach and continuing to engage with the community and organizations over the next few months.
Thank you so much. We have time for one more question before we have to move on in our agenda. But before we do that, I just wanted to say that we will be able to have more robust conversations around this. All of the proposals, any of the proposed suggestions are just that, they're just suggestions, and that we have not come up with a final policy recommendation. So we will be meeting with our bylaws committee to further refine what this looks like and discuss what this looks like so that we can bring a proposal to the DCCC to be voted on. So just wanted to make folks aware, especially Member Barry, that this is not final language at all, that there's still time to work on this. And so appreciate anyone who wants to participate in that conversation. With that, we have time for one more question. I see Member Williams's hand. So we'll go to her.
Yeah, thank you so much, Chair Mahogany. And I just want to thank SFWPC for all your hard work, and also want to align myself with the comments of Member Barry as someone who's a survivor, as well as has supported survivors in my personal life and professional life. This is a really important conversation. And just to kind of highlight the intersectionality piece of this, and really want us to look fully at our code of conduct, because I've also not only have been a survivor in these spaces in the sexual context, I think anti-Blackness and other forms of harassment, I definitely feel we need to discuss and look at, again, at our code of conduct. I also had the opportunity to be part of a process where we had to remove a member from a club that I've been part of because of their continued harassment of folks that was not of a sexual nature in all contexts, but of a nature that made folks feel unsafe. So I just want to highlight that there's a lot to unpack in this conversation around safety in our spaces and how we're engaging with each other, and just really want to be part of that conversation. So thank you for your work.
Thank you. Thank you, Member Williams. Member Baraka or Vice Chair Baraka, do you have a quick question?
I really don't have a question. It's more, I believe, a statement. I wanted to thank the SFWPC for their presentation, but I would also like to encourage them to become chartered members of our party. I think that these suggestions are a first step in making things, or I should say establishing a policy for us, but I also like them to understand what it means to be officially chartered. And I think it would, to me, not that this doesn't, it doesn't come to me as something that's insignificant by a long shot, because harassment of any kind is anathema to me. But I would also like to point out that the California Democratic Party platform by which we are bound by does have a statement on combating sexual harassment and creating a climate of respect and equity. That is a part of our party platform. So I would just encourage the SFWPC to become a chartered member of our party. I believe that we are stronger together, and that is all.
Thank you, Vice Chair Baraka.
I'd like to add one comment, if I can. Sorry, just really quick, based off of the things that I heard. Honey, as you were saying, as you guys move forward and actually craft the language and get specifics around it, it sounds like, in particular in the restorative justice space, as Denise was talking about, that as an alternative, as an option, not a replacement and an only solution, but as an option. What I was hearing and hope that you'll consider as you move forward is the idea too of like, how do you address if you go through a restorative justice type situation with an offender, what happens if there's another instance and then another instance? Like, how do you factor all of that into the language as well? Is there like 3 times you're out? Like, I think that that's going to be an important part of because we know that you can't just think of in one time at a time. And so I encourage you to think about that going forward as well.
And if I may, thank you, Mona. I just wanted to step in as a final note. Thank you to Chair Mahogany, to Vice Chair Morales. Both of you have been incredible to work with over these past year and a half now, over multiple boards and with multiple members. And I also want to validate what our 3 speakers had to say today. Ultimately, at the end of the day, the power rests with you. As Member Baraka quite correctly pointed out, we are not even a chartered member of the Democratic Party, although I am a longtime activist within it. This club is independent and was brought in as sort of an organizing fellow in this regard. But ultimately, the power rests entirely with you. And we are here as allies in the struggle with you, and we are more than happy to provide additional insight or support. We recognize everyone here is volunteering their time, and we thank you for that. And we're here to help however we can, understanding that at the end of the day, the San Francisco Democratic Party will craft its own rules. So thank you again for giving us this opportunity.
Well, I just want to say thank you to all of our presenters from SFWPC for your collaboration on this and also for your leadership on this. I personally feel, it is, while I would love to see specifically a women's democratic club chartered in the city of San Francisco, I also understand the need for nonpartisanship. I mean, another great example is the League of Women Voters, who are also nonpartisan, who oftentimes are partners with the Democratic Party on things like, for example, voter registration. So we do have precedent in working with nonpartisan organizations, and they do have a place specifically in San Francisco, because we're not all Democrats. Some of us are Green Party, some of us are independents, and even Republicans. And everyone needs to be held accountable to making sure that we have equality for women in all of those spaces. So I really just appreciate your work and leadership. And this is just the beginning of the conversation. So again, members, thank you for your time and your consideration for this item. We'll now move on to item number 9, which is the officer reports. And I do have a request that, if possible, since we are running a bit late, if folks don't have any thing to update that is major, if they can just they can say pass, and we can do sort of minor updates at the next meeting. So I'm going to actually start that by passing on the chair's report, and we'll go on to Vice Chair Lacroix on outreach.
Yes, I'll be quick. We have 2 events upcoming. This Saturday, April 29th, is the Cesar Chavez Festival in D9. I believe E.D. Garcia is the lead, so please check in with him if you have any interest in participating. As well as Sunday, May 21st, is Sunday Streets in the Bayview. Please check in with me if you have any interest in participating. The rest is, and that we are on track for having DCCC swag at our convention, so please be on the lookout for that. Everything else will be at the next meeting. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Vice Chair Lacroix. Voter registration, Vice Chair Braca.
Hello, everyone. I am out of town currently, and I was unable to attend our voter registration committee meeting, but we did have one in my absence. I just wanted to highlight a couple of things. The first thing I want to do is throw something in the chat. SF Rising is having a mobilized event for voter registration, and I just put that in the chat. If you could sign up, that would be awesome. All the details for that event are listed in that link. The only other thing that I'd like to mention is that we will be doing voter registration at the events that Leah mentioned. So please, if you could spare some time, we'd love to have you come out. I will save the rest of my update for next month. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chair Braca. Communications, Vice Chair Galata.
Thanks, Chair Mahogany. Good evening, colleagues. Just really quick, just want to shout out and appreciate and say thank you to all the volunteers who made calls for Wisconsin for the Supreme Court race. That was a huge win for Democrats and progressives. So thank you. Thank you to Team Pelosi and also Susan Pfeiffer and everyone for holding down the phone banking at the neighborhood HQ in the Castro as well. So just really just appreciate everybody throwing down for that race, and great to see that victory. With that, I will turn it back to you, Chair Mahogany. Thank you.
Thank you. Vice Chair Levitt had to step out, and Treasurer Morales was unable to make the meeting. But I know that they are working on submitting our taxes. So that is a very brief update from our treasurer. Coming up next, we have the fundraising committee. We will be getting out a save the date in the next month for our big gala, which will likely be in August. We're working on securing our honoree, and we're also looking for committee members to help with that work. So if you're interested in partnering with me and a few of the other DCCC members on helping with our gala to make it as fabulous, if not more fabulous than it was last year, let me know, or Moises know. With that, we'll move on to club chartering and relations. Member Thomas was also unable to be here tonight, so I will sub. And this is the chartering of the West Side Family Democratic Club. Do we have anyone from the club who, I believe they spoke during public comment, but I believe Parag Gupta at this time, I see that he's has his hand raised if he wants to sort of speak to the founding of the club. I think this would be a good time to do that since Member Thomas is not here.
Thank you. Apologies, I was just getting fixated or getting situated, I should say. Good evening, members. Thank you so much for your time today. I will be brief. We are the West Side Family Democratic Club. We represent folks, San Francisco Democrats from Richmond, Sunset, West Portal areas. Our platform is really simple. There are a lot of Democratic clubs out on the West Side. We see an opportunity where we can increase engagement, we can increase registration, and our platform is really simple. We're looking out for other folks who want to stay in the city, try to excel in the city. We believe, I think as many as you do, excellent public schools, public safety, and a high quality of life, thriving small businesses, and housing as kind of the four main issues. And so, we seek to be chartered. I'll leave it at that, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you all may have.
Member Barry has a question.
Hi, my question is, you said you support housing. Specifically, do you support building more market rate housing?
I think our idea is how do we build housing for families? So our future depends on being able to keep seniors, young adults, and middle-income families in San Francisco, along with welcoming newcomers who bring their talents and diversity to our city. We can do this by embracing more multifamily housing at all levels of affordability that can coexist with what right now is only single-family homes and complement the West Side neighborhoods that we love. We're hoping people who own their homes should be able to add new space to accommodate multi-generational living without spending years to get permits or incurring escalating costs. I really appreciate that question, because housing is something that I'm very passionate about, especially as somebody who works in affordable housing.
Thank you, Member Barry. Member Ibanez.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. I do have several questions. I'm interested in knowing what is the percentage of low-income families compared to moderate incomes that are members of your club? I want to know, I'm interested in knowing the percentage of families that are of color, that are queer, that are trans, and what is your definition of family? I also want to know, in terms of, you mentioned the issues of school, and I would like to know, and I'm pretty sure that you may not have the answer to this particular question, but I'll be interested in knowing, what was the position of many of your members on the issue of the recall of the 3 members of color that were recalled? And what is your position on the Black Lives Matter movement?
Apologies, as I just wanted to write all of those questions down, and I really appreciate all of them. So we're just starting out. I mean, we seek to be an inclusive club. We seek to be representative of the club demographic across all demographics, and gender, race, inclusive of all families. If someone considers themselves a family, we consider them a family. We don't have any predefined definition of it. We would welcome any folks to send members our way that live in these areas, because again, we seek to be inclusive for folks who also believe in those same things. I don't know, unfortunately, what you asked about the members and what their positions are of the recall. Again, we're just starting out, so we're just building that member base, really. And I don't want to give you false information. I don't know off the top of my head about that. So I apologize, but I'm happy to look up the demographic. I have a rough sense of the demographic, and that is what we strive, so that we are truly representative and not just of any one particular group.
And I think what would help me is, in terms of your recruitment, what is your recruitment strategy? You had an event recently, and in that event, who was invited to that event? And the reason why I'm asking is because again, for me, demographics representation is very, very important. And the word family is very important to me. And so I want to make sure that I understand like what was that strategy like and who participated and yeah.
Yeah, I really appreciate it. And to be honest, we're trying to figure out how do we get even more inclusive with the way in which we put on events. So for example, you know, to invite folks in, especially because, you know, we understand people have to work during the day, have to put their kids to bed. Gosh knows, you know, if anything's before 8 p.m., I can't make it on weekdays because I have a daughter to put to sleep. So that's why we are trying to have it across a lot of different venues. In person on weekends is what we find is good for families. Also evenings over Zoom past 8:15 so that people can participate. So I'd say we're trying to grow that so that people, regardless of income, regardless of, you know, what their situation is, can join and their voice can be heard.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. I really appreciate those questions. I think they push us to be as inclusive as possible.
Thank you, Member Ibanez. And we're gonna just, in the interest of time, just keep to these last two questions. So Vice Chair Braca, then Vice Chair Galata.
Hello. Thank you for coming tonight. And I'll just jump in and say that what has garnered my attention are these accusations by the person that gave public comment tonight, Brandy Marchman. I also had a member of the public text me about the fact that the Westside Family Democratic Club has taken positions that are pro-recall, pro-segregation of Lowell. Do you have any comments to that? And I noticed that you didn't address member Ibanez's question about the recalled members. Could you address that at all?
Apologies. I think the question was, how do our members feel about the recall? And I didn't want to misrepresent our members. So apologies. I was not trying to be evasive. It's just I don't know, where all our members stand. But I can say with regard to public schools, I mean, I think we're trying to look forward in terms of what creates a thriving city. And so it's sort of, when we talk about excellent public schools, it's sort of, a city as wealthy as San Francisco we should have outstanding schools with strong support for students at all levels, from all neighborhoods of the city. I mean, I serve on my school site council, and we're always looking at, how do we raise all ships up? How do we focus and make sure that we are inclusive and reaching out to every member of our community, those who perhaps don't participate in the town halls, and make sure their voices are uplifted. But then let's not settle for second best. We should have amazing schools that we are fully capable of that. So, our school district and public officials should focus on student outcomes and providing excellent education to every child in San Francisco. And I think that's possible. I mean,
how about the accusations of the fact that the club is actually a Dino club and that you are being funded by money that is coming from the Republican Party? And to me, those are strong accusations. And I want to know if you have anything to say directly to those comments about racial, or I should say racism in the club, or taking Republican money and really saying you're Democrats, but really not being Democrats. What is your comment, Mr. Gupta,
my
on
comment
those statements?
My comment is absolutely not. Those are outrageous comments. I was hurt by those. I think that's absolutely ridiculous. As I said, I've worked I worked with freshman Senator Durbin in '96. I worked on the No on Night initiative for Robert Barnes, God rest his soul, back in '99. I work in affordable housing. My entire career has been, me personally, has been based on how do I uplift folks in San Francisco. And I mean, that they're just outrageous. And I take offense to those.
All right. Well, thank you. Vice Chair Galata, last question.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Gupta, for being here. I think I heard you mention a number of issues that your organization is seeking to advocate around. What I didn't really hear was the connection to the Democratic Party and why your organization is seeking to be chartered by the Democratic Party. There's a lot of advocacy organizations and groups in San Francisco that are not affiliated with the Democratic Party, and they advocate for the issues they care about. I think as an organization, we charter organizations that have alignment with the Democratic Party and the Democratic Party values and the work of the Democratic Party, which is electoral, about voter engagement, voter registration, voter outreach. Can you speak to why your organization is seeking to be chartered with the Democratic Party?
I appreciate the question. I mean, I feel like I've been a lifelong Democrat, and everything we care about, to me, is something that we should stand proud on as Democrats. And I believe Democrats stand for when we talk about good schools, when we talk about investing in housing, when we talk about housing people, public safety and quality of life. I mean, these are things that we should be loud and proud on, really, as Democrats. And I think there's an opportunity to really change the narrative, if you will. I mean, it hurts me to see the narrative. I get these questions all the time from folks. They're sort of like, what's happening in San Francisco in my work when I travel abroad? And I'm sort of like, look, we build a great San Francisco. That's what we do. Yeah, well, of course we can criticize, but we need to build a great San Francisco. And I see a lot of people turning away from the system, not thinking that they can do anything. And they want to stay in San Francisco and they want to vote Democrat. And I'm like, you can do both. Like, these are things that are not, like, let's get more folks registered. Let's get more folks in the Democratic Party that have families, rather than have those families of Democrats move out to the suburbs.
Okay, well, thank you so much for answering all of our questions. That was the last question. So we're...
Sorry, can I just say, for those who feel like they have not had their questions answered, feel free to reach out. I mean, really, we're stronger by us all engaging, and I really appreciate your questions. I'd like to get to all your questions, so please don't hesitate to reach out. I really appreciate it.
President Mahogany, I have a point of information.
Okay.
I would like to hear Member Chen, her question, given that she is a representative of D19 and also represents a large percentage of a demographic that is very important to our community. And I would like to hear her question, if that's possible.
Sure. We had said that we were only going to have that one last question, but we can make, I'll make an exception, but this will be the last question. And please keep it brief.
Thank you so much, Chair. My question is, why specifically is family use? Why can't it be the West Side Democratic Club? I think that would encompass a lot more people if you're trying to be inclusive. Why specifically the word family?
I mean, we can certainly, I think it's a good point to ponder. Again, I like the idea that we are inclusive of anyone who considers themselves a family, and I'm hoping, but I mean, I think this is a good question for us to ponder, and I'll certainly take that back, Member Chen. At least I can share the intent. The intent was, sometimes families feel like they're being pushed out of San Francisco, so it's actually trying to be inclusive of families in that manner, but we certainly don't want to be exclusive of everyone. So if you feel like it might be exclusive, then that's certainly something that we should take a look at.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for that question. I guess given your answer, is this something that you would want to consider before we move to charter, or how do you want to proceed with that?
Is and apologies, I'm a neophyte when it comes to this. If we go with West Side Family Democratic Club, and
You can
if
change your
later
name later.
we can change our name later. Okay. If you don't mind, I think that's probably the best way forward, and then we can have a conversation and see if we seek to change it later. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Well, I really do appreciate the line of questioning, and I also really appreciate you for being here to represent the Westside Democratic Club. I know that some of the questions were certainly not easy, but I think that for me personally, I just want to underline that, as chair of the Democratic Party, we have bylaws that dictate what it means to qualify as a Democratic club. And we are bound by those bylaws. And even though I may disagree with certain of the folks who may be a part of the club on certain political things, I was very much against the recalls, for example. I'm very loud about that. That does not mean that folks do not have the right to organize or create a Democratic club. So I appreciate the line of questioning, but I also, want to recognize that this is a Democratic Party with a wide range of views. And so I just want to respect that we are open to many different folks establishing a charter Democratic club, even if we disagree with them. So with that, is there a motion for this item?
Yeah, this is Member Lee. I'll move this for approval to charter the Westside Family Democratic Club. And I'll do a roll call vote. I think that's appropriate.
I think so too.
Point of information or point of order. I believe Member Galata had his hand up before Member Lee spoke.
Oh, thank you, Vice Chair Galata.
Thank you. I just think based on just the lines of questioning tonight from members, not everyone also was able to, because of just the short amount of time, get questions answered, and I think have more follow-up and dialogue. I would like to make the motion that we actually continue this item to the next future DCCC meeting, and we hold off on voting on this tonight so we can engage with more dialogue and get questions answered that we have.
Second.
I'd like to make that motion.
And there was a second. So we'll take a roll call vote on this.
I mean, I'll withdraw my motion. I'm aligned with what Chair Mahogany said. We don't grill other clubs like this. And if they follow the bylaws, they follow the bylaws. And we're in the business of chartering Dem clubs with Dem members. So, but I'll withdraw my motion if that is where this body stands.
I would just like to make the comment that we do have a motion and a second, so we do have to vote. But I would agree that we have this has been on the.
I'm so sorry. I was trying to second Member Lee's motion.
I would ask the parliamentarian to determine. I know how Bart Board does this, but I don't know how substitute motions and stack works for DCCC.
Right. So there was a motion first made by Member Lee, and then there was a counter motion that was made by Vice Chair Galata, and that was seconded by Vice Chair Baraka.
So how rules of order states that we take motions is the last motion that was made goes first. So you really want to clear off, like if you have a pile of things, you want to clear off the first thing, or the last motion that was made is the first one that gets addressed.
So last
in this instance, it would be Member Galata's motion, and if that does not pass, then we'll go to the first motion made by Member Lee.
Okay, I thought it was the other way around, but I defer to.
Yeah, I actually agree it's the other way around. As someone who's done this quite a bit, I think you clear the first motion, and I was unfortunate I couldn't get off of mute to second Member Lee's motion, but I do strongly agree with what Chair Mahogany is saying, that, we need to just really abide by our bylaws and, be fair. And so I actually would like to second Member Lee's motion.
Well, it sounds like Peter's motion got in and seconded before yours got officially recognized in second. So we're still going by procedure if we allow the first motion that received a motion and a second to go first. So I think that we should go with Peter's motion. And I believe in all the things and all the concepts that you and both the chair raised, but at the same time, these exceptions have come out that are very problematic for me. Talking about racism, Democrats in name only, a way to funnel money from the Republican Party. These are strong accusations that I think deserve a little bit more of a microscope before we give them the seal of approval of the Democratic Party. That's all.
I appreciate that, Vice Chair Baraka. I will just also say that if a club is operating, with funding from a Republican Party, or doing those kinds of things, they can be unchartered. So we do have things in place to deal with that. But, again, accusations don't necessarily make that true, and I haven't seen any evidence of that yet. That being said, obviously, this is a democratic process, and we will be playing this out according to our bylaws. Our parliamentarian has said that the second proposal that was introduced has to be considered first. Have you been able to confirm that since it was challenged, Vice Chair Lacroix?
Have I been able to, can you repeat your question, please?
There was a challenge to your ruling. Were you able to confirm that it is true that the second one is dealt with first?
Yes, I do. Hold on one second, Member Barry, please. I do appreciate everyone kind of expressing their thoughts and opinions on rules of order, but as I am quite confident in the position as parliamentarian. I'm putting my own feelings on this agenda item aside, that when you ask me a question about rules of order, it is about the rules. And so whatever is the last motion that was made gets addressed first. And if that is not passed, then we work our way down the list. And that has been a consistent motion. Anytime that something like this has been called, I say the same exact thing, and we can go back into the minutes in our meetings and look. So.
Thank you, Vice Chair Lacroix. So I'm not going to take any other hands at this time because there is a motion and a second, and we have to take a vote according to our bylaws. So we are going to take a roll call vote based on Vice Chair Galata's motion to, could you repeat your motion? Was it to delay?
To continue this item to the next scheduled DCCC meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry, can I just jump in for 1 second?
Mm-hmm.
I am not prepared for either Senator Wiener or Senator Feinstein to vote on Peter's. I can only vote on the one that I had in the agenda that I was sent here with. So I'll have to abstain for Wiener and Feinstein. But the whole reason I am here for Wiener right now is he was specifically wanted to support the West Side Democratic Club.
All right.
But I'm going to abstain on this.
Thank you for noting those abstentions and explaining that. So we do have a motion. Recording Secretary Lee, are you able to?
Yep, I'll do a roll call vote. So I'll call your name. And again, please be mindful if you're proxying, please just stay tuned for that. And so this motion is to continue this item of chartering the West Side Family Democratic Club until a future date with the express purpose of being able to engage the club and answer some more questions. For members, your options are either yes, no, or abstain. So I'll go in order, and I'm just going to call everyone's name because I know some additional members have joined a bit late. So Member Avalos. Member Baraka.
Aye.
Member Barry.
Aye.
Member Campos.
Abstain.
Member Chen.
Pass.
Member Galata.
Aye.
Member Dufty. I'm sorry, I skipped you.
I'm serving as proxy for Dufty, so I just need a little time, so pass.
Okay. Member Ibanez,
Yes.
Member Kim, Member Lacroix,
Abstain.
Member Lee, no. Member Loftus,
Pass.
Member Lovett, Member Chair Mahogany,
Sorry,
No.
I'm sorry. I'm proxy for Lee and yes, member.
Member Lovell, vote yes.
Yes.
Okay, Chair Mahogany,
No.
Member Mandelman, Member Marr, Member Maliga, Member Morales,
Pass.
Member Raju,
Aye.
Member Ronan,
Aye.
Member Thomas,
I'm his proxy and he did not respond, so I'm not gonna vote either way for him.
okay, I'm gonna put abstain down. Or yeah. Member Tung,
Abstain.
Member Williams,
No.
Member Zoe,
Abstain.
Member Feinstein,
Abstain.
Member Pelosi,
Abstain.
Member Mullen, Member Kunalakis,
Abstain.
Member Ma, Member Cohen,
Abstain.
Member Weiner,
Abstain.
Member Haney, Member Ting.
Abstain.
There are a few votes you passed. I'll go back to Member Chen,
Abstain.
Member Dufty, if you've heard from him, Chanel.
I'm gonna have to abstain. Yeah.
Okay, no worries. And then I think, is there anyone else who abstained? I'm just like trying to go through the votes. I think I recorded all the votes.
Yeah, Madison, proxy
Yep.
for Loftus. I passed. I'm gonna abstain.
Okay,
Well, and I'm Gabby from Member Morales. I am also gonna have to abstain.
okay, understood. Thank you. All right, so I have, sorry, I have 10 plus 15. I have 25 votes recorded. There are 15 abstentions. There are 7 yes and 3 no. Member Lacroix is parliamentarian. I'm not sure what the quorum here is needed for a motion to pass. Can you help me out here?
I do not have my cheat sheet in front of me, so I am going to lean on our executive director or our chair if they know at this moment. I apologize for not having that in front of me.
Member Lacroix, if you're able to look it up in our bylaws, that would be great. And until then, I think we will record the vote and then maybe come back to this until you can look it up. Let's do that for now. And we'll come
Sounds
back
good.
to that.
I'm on it.
Chair, I think I would just add that quorum is 8 in this body. So I don't know if that provides further.
I don't know if
clarity.
there's specific rules around club chartering. I know quorum is like what we need to hold the meeting, and so it could just be 50 plus 1 of that quorum of 8. But I know endorsements votes have like specific rules about how many people you need for the endorsements. And so I would not be surprised if there's specifics around club chartering. Leah, I can help you out and take a look, and we can move on to the next item and go back to this vote as needed.
Right. I mean, I have a feeling that it will be the simple majority rule, but why not just check on that just so that we don't have to undo the vote later. So we will move on to the next item, which is item number, let's see, the Gender Equity Committee by Member Morales, who's not here, and also Member Lovett is not here. Any reports on partnerships, Vice Chair Galata?
No update. Thank you.
Okay, no update on partnerships. Executive Director Garcia, do you have a report at this time?
Yeah, I'm just going to give a couple quick things. I'm just happy to announce that 19 of our 25 chartered clubs are now in good standing with the party. And so they are eligible to participate in the pre-endorsement conference later this year. All the clubs have been provided a roster template that must be submitted by May 10th at noon. I just really wanted to thank all the clubs that came into good standing. Being a club in good standing means that your contact information is current with us, among some other things. And this really allows us to communicate with the club leadership and really bring back leadership circle to be able to provide services to our Democratic clubs and help them really build up in preparation for next year's elections. And Regional Director Kelly provided her report as well. And she's wanted me to stress that the SFDCCC will be hosting a hybrid orientation for all SF delegates, either on Monday, May 15th or Saturday, May 20th. This will be followed by a delegate mixer. We'll be sending out information in the coming week. And I just wanted to note that folks should have received an invitation today for a mixer to be held at convention, hosted by State Senators Wiener and Assembly Members Ting and Haney. This will be on Friday at 6 p.m. at convention in LA. Also, with regards to convention, the deadline to register is May 1st at 5 p.m. So please be sure to do that as soon as possible. This is so that you don't have to wait in lines at convention. And also prices will go up after May 1st. She also wanted me to stress that there will be a dinner on Saturday night honoring Speaker Emerita Pelosi, and you can pay for that dinner where you registered. At this point in time, all convention hotels are booked, but the party might release another block of hotel rooms next week. And for those that still need their hotel room, you can go to fairhotel.org for hotels that are in downtown LA. I think the last couple things to mention are, if you can't make it to this May convention, you need to appoint a proxy. Be sure to contact myself and Director Kelly. The deadline for pre-approval of your proxies is Friday, May 5th at 5 p.m. There are some requirements depending on if you are a DCCC proxy, or sorry, DCCC member, DCCC appointee, or ADEM appointee. And so just check in with us first to make sure that your proxy is eligible to be your proxy. Lastly, if you're interested in serving in a standing committee, you can go to cadem.org to check out the current standing committees. The application just came out and closes on June 1st. And I'll throw a bunch of links into the chat for folks, and also follow up with an email for everyone.
Thank you, Executive Director Garcia. I'm wondering also if you may have, did you include CDP Region 6 Director Kelly's report in that as well?
Yeah, that was her report.
Perfect. All right, then we will move on to item number 10, which is a resolution upholding San Francisco Sanctuary Ordinance by Avalos and Morales. Neither of those folks are here today, but I believe we have Proxy Burgos here to speak to this item. Colleagues, can I have a motion to consider this item?
Chair, can I just close the loop because we have a final thing around the club chartering. So I think Leah and I both did a little bit of research, and there's no special procedures for club chartering, and the quorum is, as stated, 8. And so the result of the vote was there were 7 yes, which is to continue the item as Vice Chair Galata's motion. There were 3 no and 15 abstentions, with 10 actual votes recorded that meets the quorum. And with 7 yes, the chartering of the West Side Family Democratic Club will be continued.
Okay, thank you, Recording Secretary Lee. Do we have a motion for item number 10?
So motion.
Who is that?
Proxy for member Zoe.
Oh, okay, perfect. Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Member Perry, thank you. All right, Proxy
Sorry.
Venables, the floor is yours.
Can I just jump in and say one more thing for a second? I'm sorry. I was Senator Wiener's proxy until Nima arrived, and Nima has not come. And so I don't have any more votes for Senator Wiener. So can you consider him absent for the rest of the meeting?
Yes, we can do that.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you, Chair Mahogany. This is on behalf of Member Morales, and she wants to say, thanks, evening members of the public and DCCC members. Thanks to the advocates and immigrant leaders in San Francisco who came together to collaborate with Member Avalos and I on this important resolution in support of upholding our sanctuary city ordinance and in turn protecting our immigrant brothers, sisters, and siblings. As a nation gears to a new presidential election and anti-immigrant voices get louder once again among people in power, such as the former 45th president, as well as the current governor of Florida, both of whom are Republicans, interested in running for presidency, where we must ensure that our immigrant residents, workers, and students feel safe in our city. When organizations that work on immigrant rights, that serve refugees, and that organize for better worker conditions for immigrants come forward to educate those of us in positions of power and privilege, we must listen. We cannot fall into the easy and harmful political rhetoric that Republicans love so much, scapegoating immigrants and blaming us for the toughest public safety problems. As an immigrant myself, I still hear Trump screaming about Latinx immigrants being gang members, rapists, and murderers. It is not only painful to hear, but it is also distracting for our main focus on the real economic and social problems that are affecting our city and our country. The fabrication that immigrants should be targeted by law enforcement, in other words, racially profiled for supposedly perpetrating more serious crimes than US citizens is harmful and a myth. Several national studies, such as the City University of New York's Immigration and Crime Report of 2021, show that immigrants are less likely than US-born peers to commit any crimes. And in fact, that the undocumented communities within the United States show even higher victimization, both in terms of violence and property crimes, than US citizens. What's even more telling is that according to the US Sentencing Commission, 82.2% of fentanyl trafficking convictions are US citizens. It's irresponsible and immoral to scapegoat immigrants in San Francisco because we cannot solve our own share of this national opioid crisis. We need public safety solutions that will get at the root of the problem before us, rather than use xenophobic Republican rhetoric here at home. San Francisco should continue to be a beacon of hope for immigrants and refugees, as well as for women and transgender people, all of whom are currently under attack by the right. Our own SF Democratic leadership must send a strong message to our city, our state, and nation that xenophobia, sexism, and transphobia will not be tolerated, and that instead, we are united in our values. We support facts over falsehoods, and we address our city's problems with decisive care and innovative solutions. Thank you, Member Avalos, for working together on protecting our sanctuary ordinance once more. Thank you to our co-sponsors for your early support, and thank you to members Keith Baraka, Gloria Berry, David Campos, Peter Galata, Annabelle Ibanez, Lee Lovett, Honey Mahogany, Hillary Ronan, Manu Raju, and Hanzu. To all my fellow members, I ask that you join us in responding to immigrant leaders and voting in support of this resolution today. Thank you.
Thank you, Member, Gabby. Do any members have any comments on this item? See Representative for Speaker Pelosi, Mr. McCoy.
Yes, thank you, Chair Mahogany. On behalf of Speaker Emerita Pelosi, we actually reached out to Jim Gomez, former Supervisor Jim Gomez, the author of the Sanctuary City legislation. In its present form, the ordinance always allows SF law enforcement to fully arrest and prosecute violent persons and drug dealers. To date, ICE has not hindered and can still deport convicted dangerous criminals, including fentanyl traffickers. There's no need to amend the ordinance. There have been a couple recommendations throughout the course of our phone calls looking into this that folks have recommended that we could, request that the district attorney and the city attorney issue an updated guidance letter to the police department, San Francisco sheriff, and the public, reinforcing the existing and effective protocols for dealing with the Department of Homeland Security and ICE under the current ordinance provisions. And with that, Speaker Pelosi will be supporting this resolution tonight.
Thank you, Mr. McCoy. Do we have any other members who'd like to make comment on this item? I see Member Ibanez.
Thank you so much, Chair Mahogany. I do stand, obviously, in support of this resolution. One of the things that we have to, and I think for me, it's really important that as leaders, especially our elected officials, must stand in support of our sanctuary, our sanctuary city, and not use this as, and not use immigrants to scapegoat immigrants on issues that they want to be able to advocate for to move their political agenda. Enough is enough. There's a lot of damage that has been done already against immigrants. We're constantly being accused for lots of different things, and we're scapegoated for almost everything, from when it comes to the economy, when it's doing bad, when crimes are high, we're scapegoated. And I think our sanctuary laws here in San Francisco are so important because San Francisco has fought so hard to make us a sanctuary city. And I think as Democrats, we have to stand really strong because we know that no one in this country, with the exception of our Native Americans, are, we're all immigrants. But we also have to make sure that we have respect and that xenophobia has to stop and it has to end. And we have this loss. It's unfortunately that we have to have our sanctuary laws to protect even some of our most vulnerable citizens. And so for me, this is really, really personal. And again, I'm an immigrant, not born in the US. And anytime when the attacks are coming, they come directly to me, they come to my family, but to my community. And we have to stand strong with this. And I'm very honored and proud that members Avalo and Morales wrote this resolution. We have to continue protecting this, and we have to, even strengthen our sanctuary laws in the future. And I do just want to say enough is enough of scapegoating immigrants. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Member Ibanez. Would anyone else like to make comment on this item? Seeing no further hands, colleagues, do we have a motion to approve this resolution?
So moved.
Second.
it.
Member Loftus would like to abstain.
So will Member Tong.
Okay, thank you. We have 2 abstentions that are noted. I think otherwise we can take this by acclamation. Colleagues, all those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed, nay. And that we had the 2 abstentions. Are there any other abstentions?
Member Kounalakis, please.
Member Kounalakis, anyone else? All right, we have 3 abstentions. Thank you, colleagues. The resolution passes. Just a point of order, I will always ask if there are any abstentions, so no need to shout it out at the beginning. I will ask at the end after the ayes and nays. Moving on to our next resolution, we have a resolution in support of the Veritas Tenants Association of San Francisco. This one was brought forward by Member Berry. Can I have a motion to consider this item?
So moved.
Moved by Ibanez, seconded by Baraka. All right, Member Berry, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Chair. I can't say enough how disgusting it is how San Francisco treats their low income residents. Some people may argue that landlords who prioritize their profits over the well-being of their tenants are greedy and unethical. This can manifest in different ways, such as charging exorbitant rent prices, neglecting maintenance and repairs, or refusing to return security deposits. While it's important to acknowledge that not all landlords are greedy, it's crucial to address and condemn any instances of exploitive behavior. Tenants have the right to safe, affordable, and habitable living conditions, and landlords have a responsibility to provide that. 64% of Veritas Tenants Association members report being rent burdened. 78% of Spanish-speaking tenants report that they are 50% rent burdened. Also, I remember standing on the steps of City Hall about 3 years ago for an action calling out Veritas for having a record number of building code violations, including mold, bed bugs, and broken windows. With that being said, my resolution is asking for all your support of the Veritas Tenants Association and all tenant unions, and that we urge all city agencies to use their authority and influence to compel Veritas and its entities to negotiate in good faith with its tenants. Special thank you to my colleagues that have early endorsed this resolution, members Avalos, Galata, Ibanez, Lovett, Mahogany, and Morales. I hope I didn't leave anyone out. And I'd like to send a very special shout out to the Veritas Tenants Association of 1965 Page Street for keeping this gross matter lifted, as well as providing assistance with the language for this resolution. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Barry. I just wanted to, if I may, make a comment at this time on this item. Thank you so much for bringing it forward. I had the opportunity to attend the rally for the VTA, along with, I believe it was Supervisor Dean Preston was there, and also Juanita Moore was there as well. It was, very moving to see the support that the VTA has, and I think that we all at this body recognize the power of collective bargaining and the ability of folks to organize and how important that is to our democracy and specifically to our city and in protecting people's rights. So I'm very much in support of this resolution. I'm proud to be a co-sponsor. And again, thank you for bringing it forward. I will now turn it over to Member Ibanez.
Thank you so much. And I'm actually going to be reading a report from Vice Chair Lovett, her comments on this item. This is in resolution in support of Veritas Tenants Association. Tenants in San Francisco feel the brunt of the housing affordability crisis. Thanks to Member Barry for her resolution supporting the VTA today. Today, the Housing Rights Committee held a rally in March in downtown. This issue certainly impacts tenants in Veritas buildings, but it is also a larger issue about corporate landlords. According to a Harvard study, living conditions in some cities decline when apartment ownership changed from mom and pop to these corporate landlords. Last year, the San Francisco Chronicle wrote about the tactics of Veritas, along with a detailed investigation and map of San Francisco Bay Area corporate landlord holdings. 48 Hills reported 5 years ago that Veritas tenants were saying enough is enough to rent increases by an investor-driven company, living in neglected buildings and unsafe conditions. Veritas, like other corporate landlords, often have building ownership hidden by LLCs and all sorts of partnerships. And sharing this report and part of this is a share report from the Housing Rights Committee's lead organizer, Brad Hearn. VTA members and their allies shut down a portion of Market Street as they marched to the Veritas headquarters at One Post Street outside of the headquarters. Members heard support from Chair Mahogany, Juanita Moore, who is a VTA member, Supervisor Dean Preston, Unite HRE Local 2, and the United Educators of San Francisco. The VTA has been pushing for negotiations on rent increases for the last 6 months and continue to do so. 64% of the members reported being rent burdened, and 75% of Spanish-speaking members reported paying more than 50% of their incomes to rent. Meanwhile, Veritas continue to impose bank increases and pass-throughs as high as 58% in one case. Many other cases involve double-digit percentages between 10 and 20. The VTA will continue its fight for a fair contract and truly appreciate the support of the San Francisco leaders. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Ibanez. Vice Chair Baraka.
I was just quickly going to say shame on Veritas and good on the members of the Veritas Tenants Association. That's how you get it done. Not agonizing, organizing, as the former speaker used to say. I would just like to end with saying that, housing on Maslow's hierarchy, it's food, shelter, clothing at the bottom. Highlight on shelter for this one. How dare they try to take something that is a need of the members of our community and really, to me, gouge them. And Veritas Tenants Association, keep organizing, keep fighting back. I believe in this type of organizing, and I suggest that others who are facing these types of things organize against these greedy landlords. That is all.
Thank you, Vice Chair Baraka. Seeing no other hands at this time, do I have a motion to approve this resolution?
So move.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second it. This is Member Lee.
Thank you, Member Lee. I think we can do this by acclamation. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed, nay? Any abstentions?
Member Kounalakis.
Member Kounalakis abstains. All right, congratulations, the resolution passes. We'll now move on to item number 12, which is a resolution supporting the repeal of the Comstock Act. Colleagues, can I have a motion to consider the item, please?
So moved.
Thank you, Member Ibanez. Thank you, Vice Chair Baraka. Colleagues, following defeats at the ballot box in Kansas and Wisconsin, Republican-installed federal judges are now boldly working to achieve a nationwide abortion ban. And the anti-abortion movement has moved past this idea of leaving abortion to the states and is now directly attacking access to abortion care nationwide. Judge Kaczmarek's interpretation of an outdated 19th century anti-vice law called the Comstock Act amounted to a nationwide ban on the most common medication used to help women access abortion care. While Republicans tried to frame last year's Dobbs decision as a reasonable compromise to allow states to decide, we all know that Dobbs isn't reasonable, and women and all people with the capacity for pregnancy have the right to bodily autonomy, the right to privacy, and the right to a safe and legal abortion. If we lived in normal and reasonable times, we could look back at our nation's history and see that in the early 20th century, the courts began interpreting Comstock narrowly, essentially saying it should only apply to scenarios where the person doing the mailing was intentionally breaking the law, rather than trying to achieve some sort of legitimate aim like prescribing a drug for medical purposes. However, and this law quickly became archaic. At one time, though, during the 1950s, Congress actually expanded the language of the Comstock Act so that it would include drugs intended for an abortion. However, Congress eventually removed the language that specifically applied to birth control. Now, the previous ruling on Roe v. Wade made the Comstock Act irrelevant, but now that Roe v. Wade has been overturned, the right is using Comstock again as a method to attack access to abortion care, and they're putting the lives of people who have the capacity for pregnancy at risk. Colleagues, I really hope to have your support on this resolution urging Congress to finally repeal the Comstock Act, and I will now open it up for further comment. I see no members wanting to comment on this item, so can we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
I hear a member Barry, and then seconded by, I think it was Vice Chair Galata. Is that right?
No, it was by me.
Proxy Burgos, thank you so much.
Yes.
All right, colleagues, I think we can do this one by acclamation as well. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Member Kounalakis.
Member Kounalakis abstains. All right. Motion passes with Member Kounalakis abstaining. We will now move on to item number 13, which is a resolution in support of SB 525, minimum wage for healthcare workers. Can I have a motion on this item, please?
So move.
Thank you, Member Ibanez.
Second. Second
by Proxy McCoy. Thank you, colleagues. According to a 2022 survey of healthcare workers, 83% say their departments are understaffed. Low wages lead to high turnover and staff shortages that ripple throughout the healthcare system, including mental health services provided by community clinics that serve low-income communities in particular. The high turnover of clinic staff, especially administrative workers, slows down the ability of all workers to address the needs of their patients. In some cases, patients in crisis wait 3 to 4 months for mental health services, and I think we're very familiar with that here in San Francisco. Healthcare workers are leaving the field at alarming rates due to the compounding effects of low wages, burnout, and exhaustion, causing longer wait times for patients and impacting the quality of patient care. Meanwhile, the state's largest healthcare systems are making record profits. During the pandemic, California hospitals made over $20 billion in profit. SB 525, authored by Senator Maria Elena Durazo, would not only raise minimum wage for healthcare workers to $25 an hour, but it would also redefine what a living wage is for workers who provide services in nursing, caregiving, housekeeping, guard duties, etc. This includes residents who often work 80 hours a week, but at current salary rates end up earning less than minimum wage. Not having a living wage means people who work full-time can't afford to rent in cities they work in or pay for childcare while they take care of others. And these folks are also just one paycheck away from financial crisis. This bill is about taking care of providers so that providers can focus on taking care of patients. And I want to thank SEIU UHW and Senator Durazo for their work and leadership on this important bill. And colleagues, I hope to have your support on this resolution. I'll now open it up to further comments from the body. Seeing none, can I have a motion to approve this agenda item?
So moved.
Second.
Second was Ibanez. Who was the first?
Member Galata.
Okay, Vice Chair Galata. Thank you. Colleagues, I believe we can do this by acclamation. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any who oppose, nay? Any abstentions?
Yeah, abstain for Assemblymember Tang.
Assemblymember Ting abstains. Anyone else?
Controller Cohen.
I'm sorry. Was it Malia Cohen and Kounalakis as well?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. So we've heard those 3 abstentions, I believe. Executive Director Garcia, were you able to record those? Perfect. Thank you. The resolution passes, and we will now move on to item number 14, which is a resolution supporting the Transgender Bill of Rights. Earlier this month, Indiana, oh, I'm sorry, I have to ask if we can consider this item. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Vice Chair Blaka, and seconded by Proxy McCoy.
Yes.
Thank you. Earlier this month, Indiana and Idaho banned life-saving, gender-affirming healthcare for youth. And in Tennessee, they've passed a preposterous and dangerous ban on drag. And Florida has done it again. They've expanded its Don't Say Gay bill, which now bans classroom instruction for LGBTQ topics at all grade levels. And they've done a lot more. Trans state legislators in red states, like Rep. Zoe Zephyr from Montana, are being censured and prevented from speaking out against bills that directly impacts them and their communities. In many parts of the Bay Area and California, we're fortunate not to have to face these attacks seen across the country. But still, anti-trans bills are being introduced at the state legislature, and California legislators have voted in favor of anti-trans bills in the House, and I have met some of these legislators. It would be a mistake to dismiss what's happening across this country as relevant to us here in California. Republicans worked for nearly 50 years to overturn Roe v. Wade and to have a strong right-wing bloc of the Supreme Court that gave them exactly what they wanted. And we see here now that the target is moving and what is coming next. Congressmember Jaya Paul, who has a trans child herself, introduced this bill to make a statement that trans people's rights are non-negotiable, that trans people are people who have the right to exist, have bodily autonomy, and who deserve care and respect. The trans community needs our allies to stand up and fight for us, as we have stood up and fought for others, as we continue to be the focus of vicious attacks that politicize trans lives and our vulnerable trans children. Lives will be lost due to these attacks. That is a fact. But support for this Bill of Rights, even if it does not pass the Republican-controlled House, perhaps can send a message that makes trans people and trans youth feel seen and that they have hope. So with that, colleagues, I hope to have your support on this resolution. And I open it up to further comment. Seeing none, do we have a motion to approve this resolution?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Who was the second? Was Baraka? Who was the so moved?
Proxy Burgos Colon.
Thank you, Proxy Burgos Colon. I believe we can do this by acclamation. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed, nay. Any abstentions? Okay, perfect. Thank you for the unanimous passing of this resolution. I appreciate it. We are now at item number 15. This is the portion of the agenda where we introduce items for new business. Colleagues, are there any items that folks would like to introduce at this time? Seeing no hands, we will now move on to the in memoriams. Do folks have any in memoriams for our adjournment? Seeing none. With that, colleagues, actually, I would just like to say, I would like to adjourn this meeting in the memory of Heklina, who was a member of the drag community who passed away unexpectedly at the age of 55. She really was not just a fixture here in San Francisco and a culture creator here in San Francisco, but really worldwide. And she has produced so much art, so much love, so much irreverence and joy. And I'm really proud to be able to call her my friend. So in her honor, I'd like to adjourn tonight's meeting. Thank you. Have a good night, everyone.
Good night.
Thank you. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you so much.
Good night, everybody.